Chapter 1544. Whatever you want to do. Chapter 1544. Whatever you want to do was still able to differentiate between a woman and her brother very clearly. Moreover, it was a woman that he did not know. The killing intent of the 9 tribulations sword was chilling to the heart. The mermaid patriarch was surprisingly calm, but the surrounding mermaid clan people were still scared and shouted angrily, "What are you trying to do?" "Let go of the patriarch." "Let go." Long Fei ignored him and said, "Stop your attack." Mermaid patriarch said coldly, "If you kill me, all of you will die. Only I can control the Poseidon's wrath." Long Fei said coldly, "You can try." No threat. Moreover, if Mermaid Patriarch dared to raise the firepower, he would really kill him. There was nothing more important than his brother's life. Mermaid Patriarch exhaled and said, "All right." Her idea moved. 1. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Asterisk, a series of mechanical sounds slowly stopped. The Poseidon's wrath's firepower disappeared, and Tai Ten King's body shook a little. A deep hole appeared in his chest. Although it was not broken through, this attack still had not. Extremely powerful. The Poseidon's wrath has stopped. Let go of our patriarch. Did you hear that? We shouldn't have trusted him. The mermaid clan people were furious. They all stared at Long Fei. Long Fei completely ignored him as he laughed coldly and moved the 9 tribulations sword away, saying, "Very good." If the Poseidon's wrath and the mermaid patriarch's idea were related, then the woman in front of him was truly extraordinary. She could attack as she pleased and stop as long as she wished. Very extraordinary. This power. Moreover, the power of the Poseidon's wrath made Long Fei salivate. This ancient holy artifact was too powerful. "Get out of Beauty Palace. Please leave. You're not welcome here. Get the hell out of here." Many people from Mermaid Clan were protecting the patriarch from the sides as they glared at Long Fei. As long as they protected the patriarch, well, they would not have to be afraid of anything. The power of the Poseidon's wrath was too strong, and no one could resist it. Even Long Fei would not do. The idea connecting everything was a very troublesome matter. They were suddenly stuck in a deadlock. To obtain the infinite review was extremely difficult, and Mermaid Clan had already developed a strong enmity towards Long Fei. Making them hand over the infinite review was impossible. Could it be? Do you want to sell your perverted looks? Just when Long Fei was at his wit's end. Rumble! 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 The air exploded, and the entire seabed trembled. Huge waves, thousands of meters high, formed on the great sea, as if the heavens were overturning. This is bad. Mermaid Patriarch's face darkened. The mermaid clan looked at the patriarch and asked, "Chief, what's not good?" Long Fei muttered, "What a powerful chi." The gods war beast said, "Boss, how overwhelming. Could it be that this sea of infinitas has an even stronger giant demon? Didn't they summon them here?" The heavenly battle beast continued to climb. Standing on top of the peak of the canyon, it stared at the black mass in the distance. Its face changed as it spoke. "Boss, you'd better come over and take a look yourself. This fellow. Oh my God! Even the body of the Titan King is not as big as this one." Long Fei's expression secretly changed. He glanced at the mermaid patriarch, then shifted in the air before swiftly landing on the mountain peak. Looking at the other half of the body that was in the ocean, the other half that was directly above sea level, how huge was this? It was too hard to imagine. These were not the main point. The point is, this guy's entire body was glowing with the golden light of the Black Boss. It was a super powerful big boss. What the heck? Long Fei smirked. This boss is awesome. The power of Limitless crushed the entire ocean, causing explosions in the air. With every step he took, the seabed would shake and crack, forming a gigantic tsunami, an earthquake, and an erupting volcano. It was as if the world had come to an end. "My darling, what kind of monster is this?" Long Fei muttered to himself. Mermaid Patriarch's face turned white, and he said, "It's Infinite Devil." As soon as he finished, the expressions of everyone in Mermaid Clan changed. "Patriarch, didn't you say that Infinite Devil was already dead? Why is he still alive?" Everyone looked at her. Mermaid Patriarch said, "No, it has been hiding in a corner of the Sea of Infinitas, waiting for an opportunity. The Poseidon's wrath woke him up." And Mermaid Patriarch's brows tightened. At this time, an old elder said, "Infinite Devil is afraid of the might of the Poseidon's wrath. Even if he did not die, nothing would have happened to us." "Right. Patriarch?" Mermaid Patriarch shook his head. "If the Poseidon's wrath's power has not been released, maybe it can, but he released a lot of energy just now, but the remaining energy is not a threat to the Infinite Devil at all. I'm afraid." This was the reason why Infinite Devil suddenly woke up, because he had always been paying attention to the might of the Poseidon's wrath, and now that its energy had been reduced, it was no longer a threat to him. This was an excellent opportunity. Wah! An ear-piercing wild laughter resounded, and the sound wave rolled down like rolling thunder, crushing down heavily. It was an incomparably strong existence, and the sky above the beauty palace was directly smashed into a huge whirlpool of craters, where the top of the whirlpool could just barely be seen. It was incomparably huge. His eyes glowed red, ferocious beyond compare. The moment he saw its full appearance, even Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. One must know that he was an existence of the magic body that was not afraid at all, yet a cold feeling actually appeared in his heart. How strong was the Infinite Devil? The remaining energy left in the Poseidon's wrath is no longer a threat to me. Nasha, accept your fate. Ha! Infinite Devil roared. The sound wave violently shook. The God's War Beasts was struggling to hold on as its body trembled. Those mermaid warriors were crushed to the point that their eyes, noses, and mouths were bleeding, rolling on the ground in pain. Long Fei looked into the sky and clenched his fists, feeling extremely unhappy. He looked at Mermaid Patriarch and smiled slightly. "So, you're called Nasha, huh?" At this time, a few mermaid elders glared at Long Fei and said, "It's all because of you. If it wasn't for you, Infinite Devil wouldn't even dare to move. It's you. It's all your fault." Countless complaints. Long Fei didn't even bother with him as he took a step forward and instantly appeared beside Mermaid Patriarch. He lightly smiled and said, "If I can help you take care of this fellow, how would you thank me?" The surroundings instantly quieted down. Infinite Devil was also startled, and then he started to laugh arrogantly. "Just a little ant like you? Ha ha ha. You overestimate yourself." Mermaid Patriarch trembled a little, but still said, "You can do whatever you want." Ha ha. That's what I wanted to hear. While they were talking, Long Fei held on to Mermaid Patriarch's lower jaw with one hand and said, "Wait for me in peace. Let's go. Get rid of him." Chapter 1545. Super Body. Chapter 1545. Super Body. Perhaps this was an opportunity. Long Fei and the Murloc's clan were already in a deadlock. It was very difficult to obtain the Infinite Review, but the appearance of the Infinite Devil gave Long Fei a trace of hope. All of them, Long Fei had to make a move. More importantly, the Infinite Devil was a boss. Super boss. Even if he didn't help Mermaid Clan, he would still take down this boss. Let's go. Long Fei moved and rushed forward. God's War Beasts and Beast King Question of God followed closely behind. Seeing them rush out, the mermaid clan people did not understand, and asked, "Why is he helping us?" Help what? Even if he were to go, he would just be sending himself to his death. Exactly. The infinite devil is the overlord of the sea of infinitas. If not for the threat of the Poseidon's wrath, our Murloc's clan would have been exterminated long ago. Human, it's impossible to deal with it at all. One must know that it's a giant demon of the semi-god peak realm. After so many years, it might have already condensed a divine spark. A god-level dire monster. The people of Mermaid Clan began to discuss. They were too clear about the strength of the infinite devil, and they knew that Long Fei was definitely not his match. No matter what, he is helping us. We should thank him. She was grateful. Infinite devil wanted to seek them for revenge. If Long Fei wanted to leave, he could leave at any time, but now he had come to help her. However, she also thought that Long Fei was not a match for her. And then Nasha said, "Lead the elders of the tribe and the child to leave this place first, the farther the better." Long Fei was unable to resist the pressure, and in the end, the infinite devil had to come here. An elder asked, "Patriarch, where can we escape to? This sea area is under his control. We don't have anywhere to hide." "Yeah, that's the infinite devil." Some of the mermaids began to tremble. The infinite devil was too terrifying. Nasha's eyes darkened and said, "If it's really not possible, then go ashore." "To the land. Patriarch, we are Murlocs. We are very different from humans. Don't you remember they treat us as monsters? Don't you remember that they think we are demon beast?" An elder said they had once left the seabed and entered the human world, but they were treated like monsters. "Even if I die, I will die here. I will never let anyone treat us as demons again." "Exactly. Patriarch, we are all willing to die here." They didn't want to leave. Nasha's heart slightly sunk. The idea moved and linked itself to the Poseidon's wrath, sensing the remaining energy it had. There's too little energy. It's completely unable to be a threat. Looking at the distant figure of Long Fei, for some reason, hope rose in her heart. Boom, boom. Long Fei rushed out of the water and floated in the air. Looking at the incomparably huge infinite devil, his heart quivered. Damn, it's really big. This was the first time he had seen such a huge demon beast. The Gods War Beast said, "Boss, isn't this guy too big?" The Beast King Question of God said, "We are like ants by his side. How are we to fight?" Not waiting for the three of them to make a move, the two balls of crimson red eyes of the infinite devil glared at him and said coldly, "Puny human, rumble." A gigantic palm that was like a mountain flipped out, smashing heavily onto Xian Longfei and the two war beasts. Boom, boom, boom. Space exploded, power screamed, and it was simply unable to withstand the impact of such a huge force. Long Fei's mind sank, and it was as if a sea of consciousness was being crushed by millions of kilograms of power. Unwell. The Gods War Beasts was enraged. What the F***K. Boom. The Gods War Hammer moved its body and heavily smashed forward. Buzz. With just a slight tremble, the resulting force was like a popped soap bubble to the infinite devil, causing no reaction at all. Gods War Beasts is also a war beast of the semi-realistic realm. However, it did not cause any damage at all. The Beast King Question of God also rushed forward. His strength was the same as the others. He did not cause any damage. It was all an MIS. A demigod versus a demigod. Was the difference really that great? Or could it be? This guy has already reached the divine level? The giant shadow fiercely pressed down. The Gods War Beasts ferociously roared and said, "Boss, quickly leave. Let's block it." The two beasts fought. Long Fei moved his hand. "Come back here. Take all of you." Shwa. Unable to resist, Long Fei immediately summoned the two war beasts into the war pet space. Then, he fiercely rushed into the ocean. At this moment, Infinite Devil's huge palm struck down. Rumble! 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 The entire surface of the sea began to surge and explode into huge waves. The bottom of the sea also surged. Those sea demons were instantly shaken into a bloody mist as their entire body exploded. Take a look, take a look. You can't even defend against a single move, yet you've been knocked over in an instant. You want to stand up for us like this? You still want to be a hero and save the beauty? Did he really put himself in the presence of God? How laughable! Watching Long Fei dive into the ocean, the people of Mermaid Clan started to mock him, but at the same time, their hearts were filled with even more fear. The power unleashed by the Infinite Devil was too terrifying. It was far, far more powerful than it had been last time. Infinite Devil also laughed out wildly. Ha ha ha! How dare you act so arrogantly in front of me? Are you qualified? Ah ha ha! Crazy mockery. Smile? I'll make you laugh. Long Fei dodged a strike at the bottom of the sea, turned his steps as though he was flying, and instantly shot out. It landed directly on the surface of the sea. The idea moved. Blood cellar. Moo. The bloody bull of Underworld roared and walked out of the war pet space. Its Long Fei placed one hand on the blood cellar's body and roared, "Fuse with my magic body." Buzz. Fitted soul, open. After instantly absorbing the bloody bull of Underworld's power, his 30 billion health point, powerful physique, and defense were all absorbed into the devil god's body. This was the first time he had fused them together. This was the first time the demon god had used the power of the fitted soul. At this moment, Long Fei's body started to tremble from excitement. His power was surging crazily, increasing crazily, and becoming extremely dense. This kind of feeling could only be described with one word: awesome. Although the magic body is not at the divine realm yet. However, he was from the great perfection stage of the heavenly tribulation and the God's bone taboo. He had fused the energy of the God's Stellastone S and God's Stellastone S together. Under the powerful alliance, his strength improved by leaps and bounds. The power of the fitted soul was also completely unleashed. Buzz. The moment the 9 tribulations sword exploded and burned, the corner of Long Fei's mouth rose into a cold smile as he said, "You laugh at this, Daddy? This old man will let you know the consequences of laughing at me." Chapter 1546. Explode for me. Chapter 1546. Explode for me. A superfusion. Long Fei leaped into the air. This time he stood above the Infinite Devil, staring at the Demon King below him. Leaping down. Boom. A powerful aura burst forth from him, and he charged forward like a meteorite. Humph, you're asking for trouble. Scram to the side. Infinite Devil roared. He turned his right hand and took out his super huge palm from the ocean floor, throwing it downwards. You still want to use this move? Long Fei's gaze turned cold, and the aura on his body exploded once more. His speed instantly increased. He was the first to land on top of Infinite Devil's head. With a move of the 9 tribulations sword, he fiercely thrust out. Boom! The sword had pierced into the head of the Infinite Devil, but it was not able to do it. Still did not cause the slightest bit of damage, and the words that floated above his head were in English: "Miss." Even a sword strike above his head was unable to cause any damage. How strong was he? Infinite Devil also laughed wildly and said, "I already said, a lowly human like you is simply unable to do anything to me. Your strength is too weak to act arrogantly in front of me, is equivalent to seeking death. Boss, be careful. Boss, No one would have thought that even under such circumstances, Infinite Devil still did not receive any damage. He was too strong, so strong that he was abnormal. The faces of the people of Mermaid Clan darkened. They had succeeded because of Long Fei's sword, but it was completely useless. This is bad. That human is going to die. Infinite Devil is no longer the Infinite Devil of the past. I'm afraid even the Poseidon's wrath cannot do anything to him. The entire Sea of Infinitas is his energy source. It's impossible to kill him before the Sea of Infinitas does. Sigh. Everyone could not help but sigh. Nasha's heart tensed up, and he started to worry about Long Fei. He looked at Long Fei, who was standing above Infinite Devil, and muttered, "Run, run! Why are you still standing there and not moving? Leave quickly." Long Fei did not leave. "Escape? Be careful!" "Ha ha!" Long Fei revealed a complacent sneer and shouted towards the direction of the beauty palace. "Get ready!" Nasha was shocked. What is he trying to do? "Patriarch, what are you preparing? What is he trying to do? At this time, what are you still preparing?" She didn't know either, but in that moment, her heart suddenly moved, and the idea followed along. It linked to the Poseidon's wrath, and replied, "I'm ready. I overestimate myself." Let's see who has overestimated himself. Long Fei pressed his palm on the Nine Tribulations sword. "I'll let you know the consequences of making this daddy angry." Divine Tribulation Tree. Buzz. The divine tree trembled slightly, and a powerful energy of heavenly tribulation burst forth from it. It passed through Long Fei's palm and directly connected to the Nine Tribulations sword. "I'll see how high your defense is. It's still this daddy's power of heavenly tribulation. Come, explode for me." Long Fei moved with all his might. Sky, fire, calamity, mental explosion. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Once the power of the heavenly tribulation was unleashed, the power of the Nine Tribulations sword exploded forth. The power of the first heavenly tribulation exploded forth as a heaven calamity formation appeared in the body of the Infinite Devil. The flames burned. His limbs were all gone. Powerful heavenly tribulation energy filled every corner of Infinite Devil's body. In that short moment, his entire body was ignited in flames. The damage above his head started to rise crazily. 120383222, 9983222, 200-13233. Come on, you want to be cocky with lousy again? Long Fei laughed arrogantly. Is your defense that amazing? Was his body really that big? Was his strength that great? No matter how powerful you are, do you have the power of heavenly tribulation? You little pussy. He was abnormally angry. The magic body had never been trampled by anyone before, and the Infinite Devil had angered Long Fei to death. At this moment, Infinite Devil was like undergoing a tribulation, different from transcending tribulation. Divine retribution was controlled by the heavens. It descended from above the 9 heavens, but in this place, it was actually controlled by Long Fei. Moreover, the heavenly tribulation that Long Fei released was different from natural heavenly tribulation. It directly exploded inside the body of Infinite Devil, causing him to be stronger than usual. The Infinite Devil trembled violently and roared. The pain was unbearable, and it also wreaked havoc crazily, causing huge waves of tens of thousands of meters in length and width to wildly lick at the entire Sea of Infinitas. Tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. The whole sea seemed to have become the end of the world. The strong aura crazily grinded across Xiang Longfei's mind, and when the damage appeared above Infinite Devil's head, Long Fei did the same. However, while he's sick, take his life. Long Fei punched the 9 Tribulations sword with his fist. Wave after wave of power exploded through the Nine Tribulations sword. "Come on! Come on!" Long Fei screamed, and at the same time kept paying attention to the value of the holy source in his body. The power of the Skyfire calamity was indeed strong, but its power was igniting Long Fei's holy source. Any kind of power would require the support of the holy source. If heavenly tribulation came down one after another, it would result in the consumption of tons and tons of holy source. 5 million holy source S worth could be used up in less than 3 minutes. This kind of strength was too terrifying. Ding! System notification. The holy source value is insufficient. Please supplement. Ding! System notification. The holy source value is insufficient. Please supplement. Ding! The system sounded out in red. At this time, even if Long Fei consumed the holy source pellet, it would be useless. He would not make it in time. The infinite devil seemed to have also sensed that the power of the heavenly fire tribulation had weakened. Ha ha ha! You want to kill me? Is a lowly human like you even worthy of that? In this sea of infinitas, I am the ruler. I control everything. Kill me? No one can do it. His health was too high. Long Fei's 9 tribulations sword only had the first tribulation. Its power was not enough to instantly kill him. The most important point was that Long Fei's spiritual academy value could not hold out for too long. 1 minute. That would mean the consumption of 2 million holy source S. Too much. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled slightly as he released the last bit of holy source from his body and laughed coldly. I can't kill you? You know what's over there? Buzz. A huge cannon was pointed at Infinite Devil. Mermaid Patriarch Nasha stood there coldly. Infinite Devil's eyes darkened as he stared at Nasha with incomparable anger and said, "Nasha, you dare!" While they were talking, Infinite Devil flipped his palm and heavily struck towards Nasha. Long Fei roared out, "Right now, smack him back to his maternal grandma's house." Nasha moved. The gigantic, ancient, divine cannon Poseidon's wrath started to spin. Fiery red light started to flow from the cannon's body. A beam of light directly struck Infinite Devil's chest. Long Fei said excitedly, "Explode for me." Chapter 1547. Berserk Trials. Chapter 1547. Berserk Trials. The beam of light from the Poseidon's wrath struck Infinite Devil's chest directly. At the same time, Long Fei took this opportunity and jumped down from the Infinite Devil's head. In that instant, he suddenly thought of a very serious problem. My sword. The 9 tribulations sword was still in the Infinite Devil's body and had not been pulled out yet. Holy **T. At this time, Long Fei had no time to think about anything else. He could only run away. The 9 tribulations sword. My sword. Long Fei was a little worried in his heart. After all, he was the demon god's 9 tribulations sword and the weapon of the demon god. No. Infinite Devil let out a blood-curdling scream. The power of the Poseidon's wrath quickly spread out from his body, and wherever it went, it continuously ruptured and exploded outwards. This power, a destructive strike. In the end, a long gash appeared on the top of his head, causing it to burst open. Rumble. A loud sound came out from the sea of Infinitas's body, shocking the entire shore. The sound traveled millions of kilometers. Long Fei stared straight at Infinite Devil's head. However, the other parts of his body were not completely blasted into smithereens, except for his head, which was smashed into smithereens. My sword. Long Fei's heart was in pain, but at the same time, the system's notification sound rang out. But Long Fei was not happy at all. He was willing to not explode. and only needed to return her his sword. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Infinite Devil for obtaining 1 billion experience, 50,000 spiritual academy points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Limitless Blood Vein. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Limitless Rod. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Limitless Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the ancient holy artifact, Tai Chi diagram. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the limitless divine robe. The system went berserk, ringing nonstop. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 billion experience points and leveling up to level 10. Current level, 50. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward from the system for consecutively leveling up to level 10. Reward item, Frost Tribulation. Ding! Do you wish to fuse them? Rewards for one of the 9 Heavenly Tribulation swords. Long Fei felt even more bitter in his heart. He could reject all those that had been dropped and even exchange for the 10th level of the ancient holy artifact, Tai Chi. He only wanted to return his 9 Tribulations sword. My sword. Is it really gone just like that? What's the use of dropping so many things? Long Fei was a bitter person. What's the use of rewarding a Frost Tribulation? The sword was gone. What happened to him? He didn't kill Infinite Devil, but why is he unhappy? Exactly. Our clan leader agreed to his request. In human time, our clan leader is incredibly beautiful. If it were me, humans are really strange. Aren't you happy after killing the Infinite Devil? Seeing Long Fei's bitter look, Nasha also became suspicious. Logically speaking, Long Fei should be happy, but Long Fei had a bitter look on his face. How could the mermaids understand the pain in his heart? If he had known that the 9 Tribulation sword would explode, he would have run away. The 9 Tribulation sword was too important. In just a few short minutes, the Sea of Infinitas quickly regained its calm. Suddenly, a whirlpool appeared in the deep sea in the distance. As the whirlpool swirled, half of the Sea of Infinitas started to vibrate as a sword started to slowly float in the middle of the whirlpool, one after another. A shining sword. The sword was known as the 9 Tribulations. The first tribulation was the heavenly fire, flickering with fiery light. The remaining 8 tribulations hadn't been fused, but Long Fei's gaze tensed up as he stared at the second trial. His expression shook. That's not right. I haven't even merged with the icy tribulation. How could there be light? What's going on? And then Long Fei made a grasping motion with his right hand and heavily shouted, "Sword!" Shwa! The 9 Tribulations sword received the summon and transformed into a flowing light that instantly flew to Long Fei's side. Floating in front of him, Long Fei looked at the radiance of the second tribulation. Long Fei's right hand slightly clenched, his eyes lightly closed, and the idea entered his body. Long Fei's body shook violently. The second tribulation was the infinite yin-yang tribulation. He could feel the immense yin and yang energy within the second tribulation, and it was of a formative nature at that. As long as Long Fei moved, he could release the energy of the limitless yin-yang formation. Wow, I didn't expect that the 9 Tribulation sword would fuse itself. This is unbelievable. At that time, Long Fei had clearly felt the disappearance of the 9 Tribulation sword and could not sense any of its aura at all. The second tribulation automatically began. It was also at this moment. The system sounded out once again. Ding! System notification. Activating and fusing Frost Tribulation. Fuse. Long Fei's voice sank as an enormous power directly poured into the 9 Tribulations sword. Boom! When the third tribulation, Frost Calamity, was infused into the 9 tribulations sword, it emitted a frosty glow and was extremely cold. It was a world covered in glaciers. With a move of his power, everything was frozen. Awesome. Long Fei was excited. It felt good to have 2 tribulations from a boss, and there was also something like an attack, a defense, or anything else. If the 9 tribulations were complete, what would it be like? Could he contend against heavenly tribulation, or was it even more powerful than the celestial tribulation? The sword was the sword. Although he was the 9 tribulations sword, it was not a true heavenly tribulation. Ding! The primal chaos diagram has been absorbed, and the energy has been filled up. Currently, the energy is at the 94th level. Hearing this notification sound, Long Fei's blood instantly boiled. It's only 6 levels away from the energy of the 100 layer. The power of the second stage of the main artifact should be fully unleashed, right? Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out wildly. Zhan Wushuang, let's see if your defense can withstand it this time. When the people of Mermaid Clan saw Long Fei, they laughed crazily and discussed amongst themselves. Is he crazy? Are you crazy? Isn't the reflection arc too long? Humans are really hard to understand. At this time, Mermaid Patriarch Nasha stepped forward and said, "Thank you for your help." At this moment, her face did not have the same cold and arrogant frosty expression from before, but instead there was a hint of respect. Long Fei regained his composure, looked at the absolute beauty Nasha, and an evil smile appeared on his face. "No need for thanks. Do you remember what you promised me?" Nasha's expression changed slightly as her cheeks flushed red, and she said, "What do you want?" Ha ha. Long Fei's smile was evil. Chapter 1548. Nasha conquered. Chapter 1548. Nasha conquered evil smile, adding on the demon god's demonic expression. It couldn't help but be said that Long Fei emitted a unique charm, that kind of cold, devilishly charming appearance that made even young girls scream in fear. If one looked in the mirror, even Long Fei himself would be enchanted. However, Nasha was already past the prime of her youth, so even if he was attracted to her, she could still control him. This was the difference between mature women and young girls. Long Fei stepped forward with a charming smile and stood directly in front of Nasha. The distance between the two was not even half a meter, and they could both hear each other's heartbeat and breathing. However, Nasha had a completely different feeling. What does he want to do? What does he want to do? What rude request would he make? Should I agree to it? What if he wants me to roll the sheets with him? What should I do? So conflicted. He's so handsome, so handsome. My heart can't even control it. What should I do? What should I do? I can't control myself. Nasha, you have to be calm. You have to be calm. You are the clan leader. Your words and actions represent the Mermaid Clan. There are many handsome men. Many of them are alone. Plop, plop. Nasha kept on controlling herself, but when she saw Long Fei's devilish face and his domineering, conquering eyes, she became infatuated, and he couldn't extricate himself. Nasha's cheeks became even redder as she tried to control them. You, what are you trying to do? When she asked this question, she regretted it immediately, because she had asked this question before. Long Fei's answer was due her. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly, revealing a faint smile. With that smile, Nasha was even more unable to resist it. Her heart was about to melt, and her entire body felt numb. I'm going to lose control. I'm going to lose control. Long Fei took another small step, extended his head, and blew into Nasha's ear. Nasha's body trembled and turned weak, on the verge of collapsing. Facing Long Fei's attack, she was completely defeated. Just when she was about to lean on Long Fei, and wished nothing more than to go through a storm with him. Long Fei whispered to her, "I want the infinite review." Nasha's body suddenly sank and stabilized. If Long Fei said he wanted her, she would have agreed instantly. However, infinite review. This was the treasure protected by their mermaid clan, and it instantly brought her back to reality. Her expression calmed down right after, and she frowned between her brows, saying, "No. Infinite review is our Sea of Infinitas' treasure, something that we, the Murlocs clan, have protected for generations. We definitely cannot give it to you." She did not know the use of infinite review. However, she knew she had to protect the infinite review, because this was the teachings of the ancestors. With the teachings of his ancestors, he definitely could not let the infinite review leave the Sea of Infinitas. Long Fei was slightly stunned, then smiled charmingly at Nasha and said, "This is your mistake. You promise me anything." Nasha replied, "Anything else is fine, but not the infinite review." "Something else? You mean yourself?" Long Fei laughed. Truthfully, he really wanted to kill Nasha, but if he could only choose one of the two, he would still choose the infinite review. Right now, for Long Fei, women and strong power were what he needed the most. However, he did not know that Nasha was already deeply infatuated with him. Nasha was speechless. Long Fei once again moved his body close to Nasha's ear and said softly, "You are very clear about my power, but to put it bluntly, the fate of your entire Fishman tribe is in my hands. Do you understand?" Nasha's gaze tightened as he looked at Long Fei. His eyes were like that of a demon's. Long Fei looked at Nasha. If this still didn't work out, he would definitely become stronger. "Don't force me too much. Otherwise, I will let you know that this world still has another move called Overlord's Bow." Nasha looked at his clan members. The energy of the Poseidon's wrath had been completely used up and would need a very long time to be replenished. At this time, it was just as Long Fei had said. The entire Fishman tribe was in his hands. On one side was his clansmen, and on the other was something that had been passed down by his ancestors. Nasha asked, "I want to know what you use the infinite review for." Long Fei did not hide anything and said, "The awakened power." Nasha asked, "Do you know how to use infinite review?" Long Fei replied, "I don't know, but furthermore, don't you worry. As long as you give me the infinite review, I will guarantee that your Sea of Infinitas will be able to enjoy eternal peace. Patriarch, give it to him." Here, they could tell that if they did not give the Sea of Infinitas to Long Fei, it was very likely that he would turn the Sea of Infinitas into a sea of blood. The power of a demon god was simply too great. In the end, Nasha made a choice, took out the infinite review, and said, "I hope that you can say that you will do it." When Long Fei received the infinite review, it moved and said, "Divine Dragon, is this an infinite review?" The colorful fairy dragon immediately replied, "Yes." Long Fei handed the infinite review to his subordinates, and then grabbed Nasha's lower jaw and looked at her alluring lips, then smiled. "How about you come with me? You have already obtained the infinite review. Let go of our clan chief. Let go of our clan leader. Don't push yourself too far. Let her go." Many people from the Murlocs clan began to shout in anger. Nasha's own heart actually trembled slightly. If she wasn't the patriarch of the mermaid clan, she would have immediately left with Long Fei. Because she really couldn't endure Long Fei's evil, cold, and domineering appearance. She was conquered by Long Fei. She was a queen, and only a strong man could conquer her. She really wanted to leave with Long Fei, but her mind was still clear. She fiercely struggled free, and coldly said, "Please have some self-respect." Long Fei smiled and slowly retreated. She watched as Nasha slowly retreated. Nasha was also looking at him. Their eyes were filled with reluctance. At this moment, Nasha was the first to react. With a flip of his right hand, he took out a spatial badge for Long Fei and said, "This is my mermaid clan's spatial badge." When Long Fei left, she was truly afraid that she would never see Long Fei again. "That's why it's like this." Long Fei took the emblem, gently smiled, and said, "We will meet again." Then, his body moved, and he instantly charged out of the sea. At the same time, the colorful fairy dragon's voice sank and said, "The infinite review is fused into one. I'm going to start fusing the power from the heavens mirror." Chapter 1549, Storms. Chapter 1549, Storms Boom. The tower question of God released a loud sound as golden light spread in all directions. The body of the pagoda emitted rays of golden light. This was divine force. He broke through the 99th level. Zhan Wushuang has broken through the 99 levels. Divine power. This is divine power. Zhan Wushuang broke through the 99 levels and entered the 100th. In other words, there was still one more level before he could break through the tower question of God and enter the ancient holy battlefield. In the past 1,000 years, he was the first to enter the 99th floor. The strongest person in Chaos Realm. Incomparable power. There is only one more level left. Young Master Wushuang will become the #1 person in Chaos Realm, and then our 9 secret warrior family will rise again. Many of the Zhan clan disciples were excited. The entire fairyland of Tower Question of God was basically already under his control. As long as Zhan Wushuang broke through the 100th floor, it could be said that the entire Chaos Realm was controlled by Zhan family. They were the absolute hegemons of this Chaos Realm. On the 97th floor, bam, Xianyuan Li Er was defeated by Saint in one move. Saint said lightly, "The 8th floor breakthrough has failed. You still have 2 more chances. Please cherish them." Blood trickled out from the corner of Xianyuan Li Er's mouth as his expression turned ugly. It was reaching her limit. Moreover, her heart could never calm down because of her concern for Long Fei. This kind of worry slowly became her inner demon. If she could not control it, then she would not be able to rush out of the Tower Question of God. "Buzz." Xianyuan Li Er's brows tightened and said coldly, "What are you doing here again? Are you joking with me?" Zhan Wushuang's gaze tensed up for a moment, and he said, "Junior Sister Li Er, why do you always have enmity towards me? What did I do to make you angry?" Xianyuan Li Er said, "Don't you know what you've done? Was the Hell Gate coup caused by you? Big Brother Long Fei's strength was crippled by the seal and tendons. Were you the one who did this? He was kicked out of the Hell Gate and sold as a slave. Did you do this? Was it you who chased after him endlessly in the Hell Gate? Don't you know what you did?" Xianyuan Li Er was as cold as ice and frost. She had seen through everything, and she no longer had any feelings for Zhan Wushuang for him as a senior brother, because she was even more clear in her heart that he was the one who wanted to control her and had ordered all the saint in every level to prevent her from leaving. Anyone from the other Impact Sky Tower could leave, but she couldn't. Zhan Wushuang laughed coldly, and his laughter became louder and louder. "Ha ha 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 ha. Li Er, everything that I have done was for your sake. Do you know?" "You don't know." Zhan Wushuang's heart turned cold. He had originally wanted to tell Xianyuan Li Er that he was happy to have broken through the 99 floors, but now he had completely given up on Xianyuan Li Er. And then Zhan Wushuang looked at the saint, and the expression in his eyes slightly changed. Saint nodded lightly. Zhan Wushuang looked at Xianyuan Li Er seriously and said, "Li Er, please make your choice again. Who do you want me and Long Fei to choose?" Xian Yuan Li Er said without any hesitation. Big brother Long Fei, even if you ask me to choose 10,000 times, I will still answer this. He was abnormally resolute. Zhan Wushuang laughed coldly and said, I understand. From today onwards, I will not disturb you any longer. Without saying anything, the mysterious man left the 97th floor. However, in his heart, he was incomparably furious. Long Fei, I must personally kill you. Xian Yuan Lier, you slut, just you wait. You will meet me soon, and we will enter the ancient, holy battlefield. Ha ha ha! You are my sacrifice. You think you can still go see that bastard Long Fei? Don't even think about it in this life. Ha ha ha! Zhan Wushuang was blasted into the void by the owner of Tower Question of God. At the beginning, he thought that Long Fei had died, but in the end, he found out that Long Fei had not died. Zhan Wushuang felt very unhappy. The idea moved and said, Go and investigate. You must find Long Fei for me. Find him and all the people related to him. I want him dead. I want them all to disappear from this world. Yes, sir. A Zhan's elder quickly left the fairyland of Tower Question of God. The loyalty of the sects, Bounty Gate, and major powers of the God's Mountain Gate was directly under the control of the Hell Gate, while the Hell Gate was directly under the control of the 9 secret warrior family. When they received Zhan Wushuang's orders from the Tower Question of God, all the major powers quickly spread out. One of the 8 King Kong discovered by the giant spirit mountain. Kill. The god. Water King Kong of the 8 King Kong were found in the Eastern Spirit Sea region. Kill. The remnants of the Cloud Palace Sword Sect have discovered the Sword Force King Kong. Kill. There were continuous reports of them returning to the Hell Gate. The Bounty Gate went from a hunting organization to a killing organization, while the Heavenly Alliance sect controlled all the information in the Chaos Realm. Nothing could be hidden from them. 8 King Kong found them in various secret worlds' ruins. The powerhouses who had surrounded and hunted them down had come out in full strength. As long as it was someone related to Long Fei, all of them would die. Even the Tsanglan Emperor had been completely exterminated because of Grandmaster Navy Tide. Xiao Yao Business Alliance, all killed. All within the domain of the Yuan Yang clan were killed. Not a single one had been spared. In just a short month, there had been rivers of blood flowing in many places, and millions of corpses had been buried here. His methods were extremely terrifying. Report. Hell Gate, Purgatory Great Hall. An elder of the Thousand Alliance sect quickly entered the hall and reporting to Great Clan Elder Long Fei, I found it. In that instant, all the powerhouse in the hall suddenly stood up. A light flashed in his eyes. Long Fei found it. Is the news correct? The elder said solemnly, It is absolutely true. It can't be wrong. All right, I will reward you handsomely. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, let's see where you can run to this time. The Hell Gate's Purgatory Elder became excited. I'll report to the sect leader right now. After 9 secret warrior family received the news. I must avenge my son. Long Fei, if you kill my son, I will use your head to sacrifice my son's dead body. A white-haired old man's body exploded with golden light. Zhan Hongtu's father, ancestors of Zhan's level powerhouse. At the same time, he was also a powerhouse who had fused with divine sparks. Monster level. Somewhere deep in the mountains. Long Fei suddenly shouted, Fitted soul! Boom. The gods' war beasts fused into Long Fei's body. It was also at this time. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. *CK. The fitted soul has finally broken through. Long Fei did not look at the power of the second realm's fitted soul. because he felt an extremely huge power awakening within the war pet space. It was extremely dense, and the power of the divine dragon was erupting. Divine dragon, is the fusion going to succeed? It's been a month. Has the Infinite Review's energy finally been completely merged? Chapter 1550. Chapter 1550. 3 things completed. The colorful fairy dragon faintly replied. The voice carried an incomparably thick power. Following that, the might of the dragon god spread, and it was completely out of Long Fei's control, as if the colorful fairy dragon had already charged out of the war pet space. This feeling was extremely strong. A full month. The colorful fairy dragon, this powerful existence from the divinity, actually used a month's time to fuse with a single type of power. What kind of power did it contain? Long Fei didn't understand. However, he could clearly feel that the colorful fairy dragon was different from before. Whether it was its aura, its power, or the irreversible might of the dragon, they all underwent a huge transformation. Long Fei said excitedly, "How much of your cultivation has been restored after the fusion with the Infinite Review?" Colorful fairy dragon said, 60%. Thank you so much. He really had to thank Long Fei for recovering his strength. Moreover, it was Long Fei who risked his life to help him find the Infinite Review. Although Long Fei needed his strength, he was still very grateful to Long Fei. It was Long Fei who had allowed him to see hope, the hope of the dragon race rising up the wild universe once again. What's there to thank me for? The reason I helped you was to help myself. Long Fei said indifferently. He knew clearly in his heart that the semi-realistic realm was a shackle. If he wanted to break through the tower question of God, 9 secret warrior family would have to borrow the body strength of the colorful fairy dragon. Other than that, unless Long Fei could face tribulation and condense his divine spark, however, this was just too dangerous. If he was even a little bit careless, he would be doomed. Long Fei did not allow himself to make the slightest mistake because he had too many things on his back now. The fusion of the Infinite Review is complete. Only Linglong Prison is left. Long Fei muttered, "Father once said that the exquisite pagoda is the 18th floor of hell." The 18th level of hell had always been within his body. At first, the Yuan Yang Big Beast, Black Flame, and the others were guarding the 18 hells of hell. Then Long Fei opened the hell, and after the Heaven Fairyland, they entered. The 18th floor of the infernal realm was left unoccupied as well. Long Fei never thought that it would have another name. "Exquisite prison," the colorful fairy dragon said. "I sensed it, but it is not enough to have Linglong Prison. I need 3 more things. It is a set of my power to recover my cultivation technique." Long Fei said, "Tell me." The colorful fairy dragon said, "1 divine spark." Long Fei immediately took it out and said, "I have this." He had not used the 1-star godhood that he had gotten the last time. The colorful fairy dragon was slightly shocked. He did not expect Long Fei to actually have a divine spark, and he did not devour it either. He said softly, "You actually did not devour the divine spark. Good boy." How many warriors in the world could resist the temptation of a divine spark? Especially in such a low plane, a divine spark was equivalent to soaring into the sky and instantly becoming the world's most powerful powerhouse. From level 0 to level 100, how many could resist this temptation? The colorful fairy dragon continued, "And Linglong's soul. The 18 levels of hell you possess is only a repellent. It can only be used to suppress evil spirits and cannot be summoned to fight. I need to fuse with its soul in order for it to unleash its full power." Long Fei asked, "Where's Linglong's soul?" The colorful fairy dragon said, "Your father told me before it seemed to be at a place called Hell Gate." Hell Gate. Longface smirked and asked, "Is there anything else?" The colorful fairy dragon said, "There's one last thing, and one more important thing. Dragon soul." Huh. Long Fei was slightly taken aback and said, "Divine dragon, you wouldn't say that your soul is not in your body, right? What do you need the dragon soul for? Isn't your dragon soul powerful enough?" The colorful fairy dragon's dragon soul had crushed everything. "Do you need any other dragon souls?" Long Fei was a little confused. The colorful fairy dragon said, "My dragon soul is naturally strong, but the dragon soul I am talking about is a dragon soul that can recover the strength of my sacred art, and also the power to bring the power of Linglong Prison to its peak. It cannot be lacking." His dragon soul was his dragon soul. He still needed a dragon soul to transform the Linglong Prison. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to reach the peak realm even if he fused with it. His personality was similar to Long Fei. Since they wanted to do it, then he would turn the situation upside down. Who cares if someone else burned the room to death? "All right, then where is it?" asked. When he came to Chaos Realm, he had never come across any dragons, so the colorful fairy dragon was the first dragon. There are other dragons in the Chaos Realm. Dragon souls would normally leave the body when the dragon race perished. Could it be that Dragon Powerhouse S had perished in the Chaos Realm? The colorful fairy dragon shook its head and said, "I don't know either, and your father didn't say anything." "That would be troublesome." Long Fei frowned. "Chaos Realm is so huge. Where do I have to go to find the dragon soul? Furthermore, I have a mission on me, and it has already been almost 3 months. If I am unable to destroy the Tower Question of God within a year, I might lose the qualifications to enter the ancient holy battlefield." He and Han Ba had agreed to meet at the ancient holy battlefield, but if he couldn't even enter the ancient holy battlefield himself, then what the hell was there to see? Your father cultivated the great prophecy technique, so since he wants you to go to the Linglong Prison, then you will definitely find him. The reason why he didn't tell you where the dragon soul is because he wants to give you more tests, and also so that he won't burden and obstruct you. Long Fei, your path is different from anyone else's. Every step you take requires you to walk on your own. The only shortcut in this world is hard work. On the road, one had to walk by themselves to be able to see the scenery along the way. Only by encountering all kinds of difficulties and dangers would he be able to become stronger and his fearless heart grow firmer and firmer. Every step he took was different. The scenery was different with each step. Long Zhanting's arrangement was just like this. Long Fei still needed to hone himself in order for him to grow even faster, so his heart would become even more resolute and fearless. Long Fei said indifferently, "Thank you, I know what I should do." In the distance, "Master, Long Fei is deep in the mountains, outside the mountain range." They were all the disciples and elders of the Hell Gate. Other than them, there were a few other people whose auras were completely different. Their feet were emitting a golden glow, and they were cultivators who cultivated the divine powers. One of them, a white-haired elder, had especially thick golden divine power. When ordinary warriors got close, they immediately felt a strong sense of oppression. 9 secret warrior family, master at the master level, Zhan Hongtu's father, Zhan Tianlong, divine level powerhouse. He raised his eyes slightly, and his aura was like lightning instantly merging with the surroundings within hundreds of thousands of miles. And then his eyes suddenly widened as he stared at one spot. Long Fei. Chapter 1551. Zhan Tianlong S Attack. Chapter 1551. Zhan Tianlong S Attack in that instant. Long Fei's sea of consciousness had a nuclear explosion as his body sunk. He felt extremely uncomfortable. Both gods wore beasts, and Beast King Question of God were startled. Boss, the colorful fairy dragon's voice also became slightly cold as it said, divine-level powerhouse. In the instant he was stared at by Zhan Tianlong, Long Fei felt his entire body trembling, his mind trembling, his sea of consciousness roaring, completely and utterly crushed. He couldn't take it. He couldn't hold it at all. The image of God's war beasts and Beast King Question of God being killed by the Tower Lord appeared in his mind. That kind of existence was too intrepid, a god-level powerhouse. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists, his joints popping out. If I didn't go look for you, why did you look for me first? Boom. Bedevilment. Long Fei moved and instantly transformed into the magic body. The colorful fairy dragon said, Long Fei, your strength is not a match for divine-level powerhouse as yet. It's best for you to avoid them for a while. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, a loud sound came from the sky. Long Fei, you son of a bitch, you have nowhere to run today. Do you know Yi Jinyun? Nangong Yen is your woman, right? If you have the guts, then try escaping. Ha ha ha. Zhan Tianlong sneered coldly. He was really afraid that Long Fei would escape because his divine senses had instantly detected Long Fei's presence. Very strong. Furthermore, if he were to escape with all his might, it was unknown whether or not he could kill Long Fei today. Run. If you have the guts, then run. If you dare to run, then I'll immediately kill the two of them. Zhan Tianlong laughed coldly. His brows moved slightly as he said softly, You all go. An elder of the Zhan clan attacked. Great clan elder, didn't Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yen disappear? I know, Zhan Tianlong laughed. But Long Fei doesn't know. He hates it when people threaten him the most, and hates it when people use the brothers and women by his side to threaten him even more. Then there's the pressure he hates. I have done both of these things. I believe that he will not be able to stay calm and will not run away. Zhan Tianlong had studied Long Fei before, so he was very clear of Long Fei's personality. If his brother or woman had been threatened, he would not have ignored him, just as he had expected. Long Fei initially wanted to listen to the Rainbow Dragon God's words to avoid the attack, and after he found the exquisite spirit and dragon soul, he would take revenge on everything. However, when he heard that Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yen had control over everything in their hands, he immediately ignited the anger in his heart and roared out loud, Cure your ancestors! Killing intent surged. The colorful fairy dragon said, Long Fei, it's very possible that he's deceiving you. Long Fei immediately interrupted. I can't use my brother's life to joke around. The colorful fairy dragon stopped. Long Fei looked into the distance and said softly, He might be blowing me up, but I can't bet my woman's life on it. But what if it's really in their hands? I can't. He had become strong for no other reason than to protect the people around him from being bullied. No matter what happened in the past, since Nangong Yen followed him, she would be his woman. If he couldn't even protect his own woman, then what was the point in becoming strong? The colorful fairy dragon fell silent. After a long time, he let out a light breath and said, Fine, I will do my best. Hearing Long Fei's voice, Zhan Tianlong immediately laughed complacently. Knowing yourself and knowing your enemy is the best way to win 100 battles. Long Fei's weakness is his close relatives. As long as he can grasp this point, he'll be like a dead dog. He can play however he wants. Zhan Tianlong laughed coldly. This kind of person is bound to too many times. They will never be able to travel too far. At the same time, Zhan Tianlong raised his eyes slightly, looked towards the sky, and said, Hunger, Daddy will definitely avenge you today. I will chop off Long Fei's head and place it in front of your grave." Then, Zhan Tianlong's voice sank and said, "Attack!" Buzz. Thousand Alliance sect, Hell Gate, the disciples that the Bounty Gate had sent out, were rushing towards the mountain forest. Zhan Tianlong firmly locked onto Long Fei's chi, and no matter what happened, he could not escape from their senses. Long Fei was unable to get rid of the sensing of the battle spirit's chi. Thus, he stood on the spot and said, "Underworld base, open." Boom! A large wave of cultivators from the secret world were summoned by Long Fei and stood in a neat row in front of Long Fei. "Gods war beasts." Long Fei slightly shouted, "Gods war beasts, you command the people from the underworld base. Heavenly court base, open." Boom! Huolin, Leighton, and the others were summoned, and they immediately said, "Greetings, sect master." At the same time, the Beast King question of God was summoned as well, and Long Fei said, "King of Beasts, you will lead the Heavenly Court's team. Listen to my command. Kill them all. Remember, leave no one alive." Long Fei's idea stayed on top of every card and disciple's body and said, "Remember my words. Listen to everything I say. If I tell you to stop, you must stop. Do you understand?" "Ha!" Everyone was startled and shouted in unison. Long Fei wanted to control everything. He was going to face a divine-level powerhouse, and if he was not careful, he would suffer a crushing defeat. He could not lose again. After losing 2 times in front of Zhan Wushuang, he absolutely could not lose again. With a roar, Long Fei sat on the fire unicorn and took out the 9 Tribulations sword. He pointed the tip of the sword and said, "Kill him! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Everyone began to roar as their killing intent shook the skies. "Turn your back to the gale. My sword is your sword, not a single one that can fight." Betting on everything. The characters on the cards were all incomparably savage and flamboyant. The beastmen warrior rode on his beasts and rushed to the front. The disciples of the Kunlun sect held onto their holy artifact and roared out, "For the sake of the Kunlun sect, for the sake of the sect master, go and kill." An all-out attack. Long Fei stood on top of a mountain peak and coldly laughed. "Come, divine." Long Fei was excited. His blood boiled. Zhan Tianlong laughed coldly. "You overestimate your capabilities. You really dare to go head-on against me? Then this old man will let you know what God means." Boom! When the aura around his body exploded out, the sky darkened, and a gigantic bolt of lightning smashed down from above Long Fei's head. The sound of thunder filled the air, and lightning wreaked havoc. A dazzling golden light attacked Xiang Long Fei. Fast. It was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived in front of Long Fei, and his powerful divine might smashed onto Long Fei's body like a layer of sky. Rumble! 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 The air was filled with a wild rage, filled with endless pressure. Zhan Tianlong roared, "Return my son's life." As soon as he finished, with a flash of golden light, a huge blade slashed out, aiming for Long Fei's neck. Chapter 1552, Powerful Exposure. Chapter 1552, Powerful Exposure. This power was unparalleled, and it was even stronger than the tower question of God Tower Lord's strength back then. Too strong. Saber wind breathing, spatial slicing. This slash, there was no way to block it. Zhan Tianlong did not want to give Long Fei any chance. One slash was enough to kill Long Fei. Long Fei's mind sank, and he fiercely blocked the attack with the 9 Tribulation sword in both hands. Buzz! The moment the ice blades came into contact with his body, they exploded with power. When the golden light from the blade rushed out, Long Fei was sent flying. He was completely unable to withstand the immense force of the rebound. Huff! His body smashed through the space itself. In the blink of an eye, he had already traveled tens of thousands of meters. Boom, boom, boom. After smashing a mountain into pieces, Long Fei laid in the midst of the ruins and panted heavily, cursing loudly, F***CK. One move. The power of this move. Long Fei saw that his hands were trembling, and he didn't even have the strength to hold the sword anymore. He was overwhelmed with shock in his heart. Is this the power of a divine-level powerhouse? He's really strong. This was the first time that he had clashed head-on with a divine-level powerhouse. He felt that kind of power that was as thick as heaven and earth. It was too vigorous and overbearing. The same was true. Long Fei laughed coldly in excitement. The stronger you are, the more powerful you will be. Crash! Zhan Tianlong appeared in the sky above the ruins, staring coldly at Long Fei, and said, "Not bad. You are able to block one of my attacks. However, this second move." Before he could finish his words, Zhan Tianlong's figure disappeared, and his pupils constricted. He roared in his heart, "Blood Cellar! Assemble!" Boom! When the bloody bull of Underworld rushed out, Long Fei moved and released the fitted soul. He merged the bloody bull of Underworld into his body. At this moment, Long Fei's heart stirred. Undying blood tribe, the power of the blood pool, open, buzz. Opening the power of blood god. Long Fei's figure faintly shrank as he entered into a sort of illusory state, and heavily grasped the 9 tribulations sword that was on the ground. Boom. The first heavenly tribulation was launched. Boom. The second tribulation of Taiji Yin-Yang tribulation was launched. Boom. The third tribulation of the Frost tribulation had begun. This was the strongest power that Long Fei currently possessed other than the main artifact on the 94th floor. The main artifact's power was what Long Fei had used it to deal with Zhan Wushuang. Thus, he had not thought of using him. Sensing the boundless divine might, Long Fei let out a heavy roar. "Come! Rumble!" Zhan Tianlong was enraged. His divine power exploded as he slashed his blade downwards. The gigantic blade stood in the sky, surrounded by lightning. The sky roared, and Zhan Tianlong roared out, "Sky slash! Die!" With a slash of the blade, the sky was split in half. Long Fei looked at the shockingly powerful blade, aura descending from above, and thought to himself, "Hold on, keep it up, we must hold on." He would only have a chance if he had to withstand this blow. The power of Blood God was the power of the undying blood race, but Long Fei wasn't sure if it could withstand the divine attack, but now he could only believe in the power of Blood God that was activated by the strength of these level 80 blood vein. The power of Blood God and magic body fused together and burst forth. Rumble! Long Fei's body sank and was almost smashed to the ground. Blood spurted out from the top of his head as his health point frantically disappeared. 10283332, 293222221, 3984222211. If not for the fusion of Bloody Bull of Underworld's life force, Long Fei would have been killed instantly. Even the power of Blood God was unable to withstand such a powerful force. However, in the end, Long Fei managed to block it. Clenching his fists tightly, he suddenly straightened his body and let out a heavy roar. "Damn it, it's your grandpa's turn." Ah! He bellowed. The second tribulation, the Taiji Yin-Yang tribulation. Boom! A burst of heavenly might burst out of the Nine Tribulations sword, and the Tai Chi Yin-Yang formation instantly enveloped Zhan Tianlong, as if he was placed in a huge cage. Zhan Tianlong's face slightly darkened. He stared at Long Fei and said, "I've really been mumbling about you. I never thought that you would actually cultivate the fitted soul to such a stage." However, Zhan Tianlong looked at the Tai Chi Yin-Yang formation and felt the heavenly might within it and said with a cold smile, "With just this kind of formation, what can you do to me?" Ha ha ha. He was not the least bit afraid of anything in the chaos realm, because he was a god. He was the god of the Blend FO Godhead, the peak powerhouse of the chaos realm, an unrivaled existence. Thus, he looked down upon everything. The moment he was trapped by Long Fei's Taiji Yin-Yang tribulation, he did not rush to break the formation. Instead, he revealed a cold and contemptuous smile, and was extremely disdainful. Long Fei laughed faintly. "Then why don't you take a look?" The Taiji Yin tribulation was the heavenly tribulation formation. "Want to crack it? It's not that simple," Zhan Tianlong sneered. "Humph, what a thing that doesn't know the limits of heaven and earth." The aura of divinity in his body exploded. Boom! A loud explosion resounded. Zhan Tianlong contemptuously said, "No formation in this world can escape being crushed by power, and yours is the same." He exploded forth with his strength. However, what surprised him was that the power he released was instantly absorbed. Moreover, the moment it was released, he couldn't feel it anymore. Yin-Yang refinement. The power disappeared. Zhan Tianlong's gaze tensed up. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "You can't escape being crushed by power. Why don't you take a look at it now? Break, you little pussy. Break for your father now." The muscles at the corner of Zhan Tianlong's eyes started to twitch, the anger in his body burst forth, and with a huge shake of his hand, he chopped down with his blade. The yin-yang array instantly dissolved. Rumble! Rumble! Several consecutive explosions rang out, and the Taiji Yin-Yang array formation was broken through in an instant. There were no signs of the formation breaking, but, however, Long Fei felt that the Tai Chi Yin-Yang array could not bear it any longer. Every single tribulation of the Nine Tribulations sword was aimed at powerhouse S below the divine level. Although Zhan Tianlong was not a divine spark condensed from his own tribulation, he was still a divine level powerhouse. Furthermore, he had been a divine level powerhouse who had cultivated for several hundred years. Breaking the formation was only a matter of time. Rumble! Rumble! Zhan Tianlong continued to sweep the area. He firmly believed that no formation could withstand the crushing pressure of this power. Long Fei frowned. "You won't be able to break the array, right?" Zhan Tianlong became flustered and exasperated and said darkly, "Long Fei, don't be complacent. You won't be able to maintain this array for long." Long Fei smiled and said, "You're right, it indeed won't be able to hold on for long, but time enough to deal with you." As soon as he finished, Long Fei growled out in a heavy tone, "You want to take revenge for your son? He. Is your son waiting for you in hell? I'll let you have a taste of ice and fire 9 heavens. Sky fire tribulation. Buzz. The first trial, the heavenly fire tribulation. As the heavenly fire fell, the Tai Chi Yin-Yang array began to burn. Long Fei then moved the 9 tribulations sword in his hand. Frost calamity, die. Chapter 1553, 9 Nether Spiritual Warriors. Chapter 1553, 9 Nether Spiritual Warriors. 3 heavenly tribulations were released at the same time. The power of the demon god, combined with the power of the bloody bull of underworld, was Long Fei's strongest power. Boom, boom, boom. Fiery light shot into the sky. The frosty chill in the air once again pressed down, and Zhan Tianlong, who was trapped within the Tai Chi Yin-Yang formation, was on the brink of life and death. The amount of HP crazily fell as one critical hit after another was sent flying. At the same time, the sound of killing filled the forest. The gods wore beasts, and the Beast King question of God, leading to hell, the powerhouse S of the two major bases of the heavenly court were crazily being killed. Ding, 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 ding. His striking energy value was also soaring crazily. Who are these people? Semi-realistic realm. Another semi-realistic realm? Where exactly did this Long Fei find all these powerhouse? I can't hold on any longer. He's even stronger than those powerhouse on the heavenly rankings. This was a massacre. The disciples of the three great forces could not resist at all. If it was before, these people from the base might not be their match. But now, they were completely different. After 3 years of cultivation, many of them had already reached the semi-realistic realm. To deal with Hell Gate, Bounty Gate, and Alliance Sect, these powerhouse S were more than enough. His experience points was going wild. Long Fei was always on the lookout. Suddenly, Long Fei's idea sank and instantly ordered, "All of you stop attacking. You absolutely cannot kill anyone else." A sudden order. Everyone was fighting with their blood boiling. The Hellgate and the rest were completely defeated. It was the perfect time to take advantage of the victory to give chase, but they suddenly stopped. Everyone was puzzled. However, everyone instantly stopped. He did not attack again. At this moment, Long Fei's experience bar had already reached 99. 99%. If he killed anyone else, he would level up. He wanted to stop this level because, to him, leveling up meant a revival, upgrade, health point completed, and holy sources value fully filled. Moreover, all the injuries on his body would instantly heal. It was as if he had been resurrected on the spot. This was a condition that was very advantageous to him. What's wrong? Why aren't they killing them? How did he die? Did Lord Tianlong succeed? The crowd didn't understand, but they didn't dare to act rashly. For a moment, the two groups of people stared at each other like tigers stalking their prey. None of them dared to make the first move. Long Fei, the power of the 3 tribulations was unleashed as the 9 tribulations sword madly revolved. Long Fei's holy source was also being consumed at a maddening pace. Tons and tons of it were being consumed, and with over 6 million holy source S being used up in less than 3 minutes, the consumption rate for the 3 great tribulations was simply too great. Hold on. Long Fei looked at the wound on Zhan Tianlong's head, falling crazily. If he was given enough time, he would definitely be able to use the power of 3 great tribulations to kill him. However, without the time to spare, even if Long Fei obtained another 6 million holy sources, it would still be impossible. He needed more holy source. Rumble! Ah! Zhan Tianlong let out a wild roar. Her hair was in disarray, and her cape was in disarray. Her body was riddled with countless wounds. Anger! The flames of fury burned. Zhan Tianlong let out a wild roar, grabbed at the air with his right hand, and roared out in a deep tone, "Grandmaster War God of Tartarus, please bestow me power." The blood essence stirred. His hands quickly formed a seal in the air as he struck the blood essence with his palm. Buzz! As the blood essence was drawn out, the power of the runes instantly exploded outwards. At this moment, a spirit body slowly rose from the massive runic array formation. A vigorous aura burst forth with it. Zhan Tianlong laughed sinisterly. "I'll let you know. What is this fitted soul technique?" Buzz! Zhan Tianlong's eyes lit up. His hands continued to absorb the energy in the spirit body, and his body started to tremble frantically. The sleeping beauty said faintly, "A spirit body is the soul of a war god." The colorful fairy dragon also followed, "Long Fei, danger." 9 secret warrior family. Why was it called Tartarus? Because Jean Clan's ancestor once controlled the land of the 9 nether regions. He used the seal of the fallen war god bodies one after another to make use of their strength to fight against the current situation. This was the strongest power of the Jean clan. Boom! With an explosive sound, Jean Tianlong's body became heavy, and his clothes burst apart from the muscles. The spirit body's energy that rose from the runes was completely absorbed. His aura was completely different, although he was still a divine, but completely different. He gripped his right hand and grasped the huge saber. The saber chi on the saber was like a dragon, roaring out and bursting the Tai Chi Yin Yang array. Boom! The heavenly fire tribulation shattered. The frost tribulation shattered. The 9 tribulations sword flew out of his hand. The power of 3 tribulations completely collapsed. He couldn't block it. Jean Tianlong pointed his blade at Long Fei and said, "Little bastard, let's see what else you can do. Little bastard, let's see what else you can do." His voice sounded as if he was speaking to 2 different people. The other voice belonged to the spiritual warriors, and it was also in front of the powerful God power. The fitted soul is actually able to fuse with a spirit body. Long Fei trembled slightly. He stared at Jean Tianlong and exhaled lightly. He couldn't even deal with a divine-level powerhouse. It was impossible for the dual god's physique to deal with him now. Jean Tianlong smiled slightly and said, "I'll let you experience my fitted soul's power." He moved. Swish! The space ruptured and instantly appeared in front of Long Fei, looking down from above. Boom, boom, boom. Long Fei's body was surrounded by streams of power. He could not move at all. In this kind of situation, he could only wait for death. Long Fei's thoughts flew. His chi has a range. I must escape from this range, or else I won't be able to. Just like the aggro of a monster, once it entered the aggro range, it would be attacked. And if Long Fei was within this range, his body would not be able to move. So he had to leave this range. Jean Tianlong laughed disdainfully. Die. Long Fei felt unwell in his heart. Ah! With a roar, the divine tribulation tree in his body suddenly erupted. Buzz, buzz. The divine tree bloomed. Long Fei's heart did not fear at all as his fists sank. He rushed forward. Let's see who dies first. The idea moved. Do it. Long Fei blocked the attack with his fists. Boom. Both fists exploded. Kacha, kacha. Long Fei's fists shattered, his bones visible, blood flowing wildly. His body was like a remnant thread as it flew out, and the amount of blood on his head instantly bottomed out. One move. Instant kill. Long Fei thought in his heart, I have to be hasty. I have to be hasty. The holy source was used up. The power of the tribulation had collapsed. Long Fei was currently unable to even use the fitted soul. One had to know that the fitted soul required 1,000,000 points of consumption of the holy source. You have to be impatient, sensing Long Fei's danger. The god's hammer slashed down from the sky, and a bolt of lightning struck down. Rumble! An elder of the Hell Gate was killed instantly. A voice rang inside Long Fei's mind. Ding! Chapter 1554. Divine Dragon, kill him! Chapter 1554. Divine Dragon, kill him! An incomparably beautiful sound of a notification rang out. Long Fei's whole body was about to die. His HP had fallen to a mere dozen or so points. Death had strangled him. In this kind of situation, the notification sound was the most pleasing to hear in Long Fei's ears. In his heart, he shouted out, F***CK. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Elder of Hellgate for obtaining 12,000 experience, 1,000 holy source points, 10 energy values points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 51. Boom. In that instant, his health point instantly recovered. Holy source value instantly recovered. The wounds on Long Fei's body and the turmoil in his sea of consciousness instantly healed. It was as if he had been resurrected on the spot. Zhan Tianlong was slightly shocked, instantly recovered to his peak condition. This power of yours. Interesting. That last move had clearly killed Long Fei, but Long Fei had completely come back to life with nothing happening. This made him feel very surprised. This was not something that could be accomplished with a single pill. Even if the death god did not want Long Fei's life, it would not be like this. Why is that? Zhan Tianlong was very interested and said, Now that I have changed my mind, I will devour everything in your body. I want your power to revive the dead. Long Fei, hand it over obediently, and I will make your death a bit more comfortable. Zhan Tianlong said with a look of contempt. The realm of fitted soul that he was cultivating was much higher than the realm where Long Fei could only fuse war beasts. Any spirit body in the world can be fused with it. The prerequisite is that you must be able to control a spirit body, and a super powerful spirit body at that. In the land of the Nine, Nether, the spirit body was extremely strong. Long Fei's fitted soul was completely insufficient. In Long Fei's narrow escape from death, the idea thought to himself, Gods war beasts, you can kill as much as you want. Remember, we must kill all of them and not let a single one of them escape. Boss, what about you? Sect leader, are you all right? Sect leader, we'll come back to help you. Everyone was worried for Long Fei. They all knew in their hearts how strong the opponent Long Fei was facing was. Long Fei said, Don't worry about me. I will definitely screw him over. And then Long Fei grinned, stared at Zhan Tianlong, and said, I told you, your son is waiting for you downstairs. While they were talking, Long Fei released the bloody bull of Underworld. There was only a tiny bit of more than 30 billion health point left, and he was supposed to take a few dozen of the high-level healing pellets exchanged by the system before returning him to the war pet space. Zhan Tianlong sneered and said, Break away from war beasts. If it wasn't for that blood cellar, you would have been dead even after 10 lives. How dare you leave the war beast? Long Fei smiled faintly and said, Didn't you say your fitted soul spirit body is awesome? Not bad. I also feel that it's pretty awesome. It's mine now. Humph. Zhan Tianlong found it funny and said, Long Fei, did your brain drop to the ground? Do you know what you were saying? You want my fitted soul spirit body technique. Ha ha ha. It's the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life. The corner of Long Fei's mouth rose slightly as he laughed. You won't be able to laugh later, because you're going to cry. In that instant, the killing intent in Long Fei's heart soared to a height of 10,000 meters. The idea moved and said, Colorful fairy dragon, it's time to come on stage, right? 60% recovery, although it was not the peak, but this was the only strength that Long Fei could rely on right now. The colorful fairy dragon raised its eyes slightly. For some reason, it felt excited in its heart, as if it had returned to its youth. That feeling of hot-bloodedness filled its entire body. The colorful fairy dragon slightly said, What an exciting feeling. Then, the colorful fairy dragon roared in the air. Roar. Dragon roars sounded out from all directions. It directly exploded in the sky above the mountain range, causing a huge buzzing sound in the sky as it exploded layer by layer. Zhang Tianlong's face secretly changed. Dragon roar? You are. This sound was very familiar to him, and he could hear the dragon's roar. Long Fei smiled, slightly. Didn't you say my fitted soul is not strong enough? Then I shall let you experience a stronger war beast. Colorful fairy dragon, come out! Roar! A furious roar. The malevolent, colossal divine dragon roared as it fell from the sky. Its enormous body filled the entire sky, making it seem extremely valiant. At this time, the entire chaos realm was trembling. The low hum of 10,000 beasts. The earth trembled, and the sky seemed to crack. Not just the chaos realm. Even the divinity felt it slightly. What a powerful aura. Dragon power? A dragon's roar from a lower plane. Not only the divinity, but the main temple also felt it. Dragon clan, not dead yet. Destiny God's eyes turned cold as he said, I never thought that there would be a dragon clan powerhouse that still lives in this world. What a pitiful race. Since he's not dead yet, then that thing must still be in the control of the dragon race. That's a super divine treasure. Moreover, that thing is way above any one of the 100,000 plain main artifact that our main temple controls. I advise you all to not think about this thing, because the dragon's might roared, and the powerhouse S of the universal large world will be arriving soon. The dragons were not destroyed in the past, but now it will definitely perish. A colorful fairy dragon once said, Powerhouse, who was chasing after the dragon race, had not given up yet. He could not appear. Once it appeared, it would definitely attract endless hunting. However, now that Long Fei needed him, he did not hold back. Moreover, after following Long Fei for a few months, he became more and more clear about what he had lost before. In this world, if you don't agree, then do it. Don't be afraid. Gobble him up. Who cares so much? Whoever dares to look down on the dragon race or Long Fei, they will all die. Zhang Tianlong's eyes trembled as he raised them to look at the divine dragon in the sky. His voice trembled as he muttered, Impossible, impossible. There are no longer any dragons in this world. Even if there were, it would only be low-level dragons. It is impossible for there to be such a huge dragon. And I don't believe it. I don't believe that you can fuse with him. I don't believe that anyone in this world can subdue a colossal dragon. Little bastard, I don't believe that he will listen to you. Zhang Tianlong's voice was trembling. Fear. Facing that colorful dragon, he was truly afraid. The corners of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly as he smiled faintly, and said, This old man will let you know what the divine dragon fusion is. Bring it on. Fitted soul, give me the colorful fairy dragon. The colorful fairy dragon roared as it turned its body around and fiercely rushed down towards Long Fei's head. In that instant, Long Fei's entire body was covered with the rainbow dragon scale armor. At the same time, Long Fei grinned. Shenlong, kill him. Chapter 1555. Instant Killer. Sky Flipping. Chapter 1555. Instant Killer. Sky Flipping Fitted Soul exploded. When the colorful fairy dragon entered his body, its aura instantly exploded. At this moment, one of the gigantic blades in Long Fei's space ring began to tremble. This was the reward of the system for taming the colorful fairy dragon, the colorful ancient blade. It also became excited. However, Long Fei did not take it out. It was a pleasant surprise. At that time, the colorful fairy dragon would definitely be a pleasant surprise that would make their blood boil. Boom! With power exploding out like a tidal wave, Long Fei stomped his foot heavily. Kacha, kacha. Space began to crack and shatter like a layer of ice. Then, Long Fei's eyes became tight. He stared at Zhan Tianlong and laughed sinisterly. Go to hell! Boom! His body charged forward. Quick! It was indescribably fast. At the start, it was impossible for Long Fei to see Zhan Tianlong's speed clearly. He couldn't even keep up with the idea's senses. Just like Zhan Tianlong, he couldn't even keep up with the reaction speed of the idea. His pupils contracted as he said angrily, "You want me to die? No one in the chaos realm can do it." Roar! Zhan Tianlong also erupted at the same time. The spiritual warriors frantically burst out from his body. One slash. He had wiped out thousands of enemies. No matter which direction Long Fei attacked from, he would still be hit. However, the instant his blade swept out, Long Fei's body landed behind Zhan Tianlong. The corner of his mouth slightly hooked up as he smiled complacently. Die! As soon as he finished, roar! Above the 9 heavens, a gigantic dragon's silhouette roared out and rushed into Zhan Tianlong's body with an unstoppable force. Crack! A loud explosion resounded. Zhan Tianlong's body sank, and his eyes fiercely bulged out. What kind of power is this? His body was shaking. His mind was trembling. His sea of consciousness was trembling, and his entire body was shaking. He didn't even know what was going on, not to mention defending. Long Fei turned around and laughed softly. The power to kill dogs. Zhan Tianlong's eyes turned sinister as he said, Long Fei, you don't be too arrogant. I'm so sorry. I've been this arrogant since I was young. Long Fei looked at the amount of blood on top of Zhan Tianlong's head and thought to himself, this power is too powerful. The aura on Zhan Tianlong's body was dissipating, and he could not control the pressure anymore. He desperately tried to stay, but it was impossible. In half a second, his body turned cold, and he felt death approaching. His voice trembled. No, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. He couldn't control it at all. The power of that one move surged crazily inside his body. He had no idea how to defend himself. Your son is still waiting for you down there. Explode for me. Long Fei roared as the colorful fairy dragon's chi fiercely exploded. Rumble! The last bit of HP on Zhan Tianlong's head directly became 0. Crack! Zhan Tianlong dropped from the sky, and it was also at this moment that Long Fei got excited and said, Explode! Explode! You must definitely explode for me. Divine-level powerhouse. This was the first time he killed a divine-level powerhouse. A divine of the blend FO Godhead. The system sounded out, and in that moment, Long Fei hesitated for a moment. Do you want to release your striking energy value? Now that I have reached level 8 Berserk, should I release it? In the end, Long Fei's gaze tensed up, but he endured it. What he wanted was a level 10 Berserk, not a level 8. Since he had already reached the 8th level of Berserk, was it still far from the 10th level? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Zhan Tianlong, for obtaining 5 billion experience, 10 million holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the ability Spirit Body Fitted Soul Technique. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Kong Fei for obtaining 1-star Godhood. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 9 Hell War God Physique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the 9 Underworld God Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the 9 Underworld Tyrant Body Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the 9 Hell Blood Vein. The system went crazy with the notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 5 billion experience, increasing your level by 20. Current level, 71. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for consecutively leveling up to level 20 and receiving a special reward from the system. The reward is item Tumbling Cloud God. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing divine level powerhouse Zhan Tianlong for obtaining the special item Body Division Technique. Do you wish to cultivate it? His watch had exploded. It was earth-shattering. Long Fei herself was almost unable to bear it. Her little heart was beating wildly, and she was a little stupefied. 1-star godhood, 9 Hell Tyrant body battle armor, 9 Hell War divine body, and even the fitted soul spirit body. This is too great. And 5 billion experience points, a rise of 20 levels in a row. How amazing is that? Rocket, ha ha ha. The key thing. Long Fei looked at the 2 items rewarded by the system, and then at the cloud that was like cotton candy. His heart became excited. Tumbling Cloud, a Sun Wukong's flying holy artifact. A single somersault was equivalent to 1,000 miles. This is a super flying holy artifact. Awesome. Too awesome. Mom doesn't need to worry about me walking anymore. Long Fei did not expect the system to reward him with a tumbling cloud, which made him look forward to the strength of the golden cudgel at the second stage of its evolution even more, as if it would explode. We are still 6 levels away, and the energy of the 6th level will reach the 100 level. At that time, and then, Long Fei then looked at another item, body separation technique. What is this? Long Fei moved and said, cultivate. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 experience points for practicing body division technique, 10,000 experience points for the holy source, and 10,000 experience points for practicing body division technique. Cultivation method, body division technique grade. Damage, none attack, none consumption, 20,000 holy source S description. This skill can separate the 2 parts of a player's body and purify their strength. Description 2. Once separated, it cannot merge again. After a series of descriptions, Long Fei was a little stupefied. Body separation technique. No attacks, no damage. F** King Hell. It costs 2 million points. Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue as he looked at the description of the technique. Can this set of techniques separate the bodies of my real face and the demon god real face? Real face Long Fei was a body. Magic body was also a body, but of the 2 bodies, only one could remain, and that was the mutual transformation. One could appear, and the other would disappear. The body division technique was able to make both of them appear in this world. In other words, Long Fei truly had 2 lives. If that's the case, then he's already so powerful. 2 lives in real life. Long Fei was a little excited. In the future, this old man can be even more arrogant because I have 2 lives. Chapter 1556. 8 King Kong, come out of the mountains. Chapter 1556. 8 King Kong, come out of the mountains. It was a series of crazy, satisfying comparisons. The berserk of a boss, with the system's rewards added on top of his EXP of 20, it was the best experience he had since he entered Chaos Realm. This feeling was really good. It was also at this moment. Long Fei ordered once again, kill them all. God's War beasts and Beast King Question of God massacred in a frenzy. His experience continued to skyrocket. Huff. Long Fei said, Shenlong, you can come out now. Buzz. The colorful fairy dragon left Long Fei's body and directly rushed into the clouds. Its body churned as it looked at the dark void, and thought to itself, I wonder if those hidden assassins are still here. With his current strength, he could not sense that much. However, if those outer space powerhouses were still here, they would definitely chase after them with all their might. Moreover, Long Fei would be in extreme danger. The colorful fairy dragon thought to himself as she looked at Long Fei. Brat, I'll leave the rise of the dragon race in your hands. You must hold up the flag. You must make the dragon race rise up once again. He had already made up his mind. Once Long Fei's matter was over, he would leave. Those outer space powerhouse. It was too strong, the ancestors of the dragon race. Even the dragon gods could not withstand it, and Long Fei could not withstand it either. Long Fei was still a seedling. He could not endure the storm. He still needed time to grow. It takes a long time to grow up to be a towering tree. Huff! Without waiting for Long Fei to retract his idea, he entered Long Fei's war pet space and closed his eyes. Long Fei was a little doubtful and said, Shenlong, why are you unhappy about killing Zhan Tianlong? There was no joy at all. Instead, there was an additional trace of worry on his face. A mere one-star godhood trash. What's there to be happy about killing him? Long Fei, your goal should not be this kind of trash. Your goal should be the ancient holy battlefield. If there was no threat from the outer space powerhouse, he would probably laugh with Long Fei. His current strength was indeed enough to deal with the S of the one-star godhood, but he still needed Long Fei to completely release his power. Long Fei's potential was really strong. However, the Dragon Clan was in imminent danger, and this alone was far from enough. Long Fei really did not have much time. He needed to grow as fast as possible. His demands were also extremely strict. Long Fei trembled and said, Don't be so serious. You have to walk the road step by step. Once I settle the matters of the Chaos Realm, I will enter the ancient holy battlefield. This was a promise between him and Han Ba. The colorful fairy dragon said, You still have a long way to go. Don't be discouraged when facing setbacks. You must maintain that fearless heart of yours. Long Fei nodded and said, I will remember. Each plane had a different level. The higher one went, the harder it was to advance. Furthermore, those warriors who entered the ancient holy battlefield from the lower realms were only cannon fodder. Colorful Fairy Dragon did not say this. Just as Long Fei had said, he would walk the path step by step. The difficulties he faced were the cornerstone of his growth, and he would become more and more stable and more resolute. Long Fei had to take every step well. The colorful fairy dragon also did not say too much to Long Fei. Even if he said too much to Long Fei now, it would be useless. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of explosions could be heard from the forest as the disciples of Hellgate, Bounty Gate, and the 10,000 Alliance were crushed to death. In the past, they might have been very strong, but now they were like ants. Half an hour later, Long Fei walked out of the mountain range. Hell Base, the Heavenly Court Base. He continued to train. Long Fei took a look at the rank of the God's Martial Sect Guild. It was a little closer to level 10. Sometimes, Long Fei really wanted to let a person swallow his divine spark and instantly become a divine level powerhouse. He would also break through the 10th level of the guild to activate its teleportation function. But with the current situation in the Chaos Realm, Long Fei's situation was still extremely dangerous. If he did not borrow the colorful fairy dragon's power, he would not be able to fight against the divine level powerhouse. Thus, those people from the gods' martial continent could not enter the Chaos Realm at this time, as they would only be in danger if they did so. This was not what Long Fei wanted. The gods war beast said, "Boss, where are we going now?" Long Fei smiled lightly, looked into the distance, and said, From the moment I entered the Chaos Realm, I have been endlessly hunted down and killed. First I became a slave, then I was hunted down and killed by the people of the Bounty Gate. The position of Hell Gate's young master has been snatched away. The pursuit by the Myriad Alliance. It's time to settle the score. Long Fei had never forgotten what these three great forces had done to him. Kunlun sect was destroyed, Yuanyang clan was annihilated, and as long as there were people in the entire Chaos Realm who had anything to do with him, they would all be killed. Long Fei memorized everything. It wasn't that he didn't want to report, but that the time had yet to come. The time had come. It was time to settle the score. The Beast King question of God said, "Calculate." It's very exciting to hear it. The gods war beasts laughed. My great warhammer is unable to endure the thirst. First we'll take care of the Hell Gate, then the 9 secret warrior family, and finally the tower question of God. Come one by one, don't even think about escaping. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Killing intent burst out from his body. Let's go. Go to the main rudder of Hell Gate. Giant Spirit Mountain. Boom, boom, boom. A burly man with exploding muscles and a huge axe on his shoulder looked at the dead bodies on the ground with an innocent expression. He spat and mumbled, "Do you think that all my time of cultivation has been wasted?" The head of the 8 King Kong, Li Yuanba, Holy King Kong. He had traversed the entire Giant Spirit Mountain range. Moreover, in this mountain range, he had reached what he wanted, and he had also figured out the path he wanted to take. The path of divine force. Boom. The moment the axe in Li Yuanba's hand landed, his body slightly flicked, and within a few breaths of time, he arrived at the highest peak of the mountain within the mountain range, walking in front of the giant spirit coffin, and lightly said, "We're leaving. It's time to leave. Since the people from Hell Gate have come here, then we should teach them a lesson. Boss, Yuanba is about to leave the mountain. Brothers, wait for me." In another place, Cloud Dip, the rainbow-colored divine, swords floated beside Aoya. A few of the swords still had traces of blood on them as they dripped down. Not far away, there were a few corpses lying on the ground. Aoya's body was as light as a feather, like a fairy from the heavenly palace. She looked at the ruins slightly bowed and said, "Thank you. I have already comprehended it. I'm leaving. I'm going to find the one I love." Since the people of the Hell Gate had found this place, it meant that Long Fei was in big trouble. She did not want to stay for even a moment longer, and wished that she could fly to Long Fei's side. 8 King Kong, Sword Force King Kong. Aoya moved through the air, her heart like an arrow, and thought to herself, "Long Fei, I'm here." Chapter 1557, Opening the Berserk Path. Chapter 1557, Opening the Berserk Path. What? Grand Elder, When the news of Zhan Tianlong's death reached the 9 secret warrior family, the entire battle family was shaken. He was a master of the master, the powerhouse of the blend FO Godhead. However, he had fallen. Was Long Fei that strong? In the War Clan's Great Hall, the patriarch of the Zhan clan was Zhan Wushuang's father. Zhan Tiantu's forehead was locked tightly together as he secretly became angry. Long Fei, cluck, cluck, cluck. The hall was filled with a solemn killing intent. The killing intent was dense. None of the Zhan's elders in the great hall dared to make a sound, as they were all crushed by Zhan Tiantu's killing intent and felt incomparable discomfort. After a long time, his aura slowly disappeared. An elder let out a long breath. Patriarch, could it be related to the appearance of that giant dragon? Patriarch, I've sent people to investigate. 8 King Kong entered the Chaos Realm from a low plane, Their previous master's name was also Long Fei, and had the same name as this Long Fei. The key point is, he's a member of the dragon race. All the low-level dragons that appeared in the gods' martial continent obeyed Long Fei's orders. Could it be that this huge dragon is Long Fei's awakened body? An elder voiced out his doubts. Dragon clan? Jean Tiente coldly spat out 2 words. His eyes tensed up for a moment. Then he slowly said, I do not care what race he is, but even if he is from the god clan, he must die. All those who are in my way die. The killing intent in his voice grew stronger once again. 9 Secret Warrior family was the overlord of the Chaos Realm. No matter who it was, they could forget about obstructing his path. And then, Jean Tiente said, do not let Wushuang know about the Grand Elder's death. He is currently in the 100 floors of the Impact Sky Tower, and he cannot be distracted at a time like this. Yes, sir. An elder asked, Clan leader, if Long Fei is really from the dragon race, then how should we deal with him? Yeah, Long Fei's potential far exceeds our expectations. Who would have thought that a broken pubis trash would have such fortuitous encounters? Moreover, he seems to be fighting with the young master for the position of Xianyuan nationality's eldest miss. His strength is not what it used to be. Long Fei grew up too fast. He had to make them pay attention to him. Zhan Hongtu's death gave them a warning. This time, they had sent out their S, but they still failed, which allowed them to clearly see just how strong Long Fei was. How should he deal with it? Jean Tientu's eyes slightly trembled and said, You don't have to worry about this matter. It's fine if he isn't of the dragon race, but if he is of the dragon race, he doesn't need us to do anything. He will die without a burial ground. Long Fei, just you wait. Others might not know, but Jean Tientu had seen in Battle Family's secret history that the Dragon Clan's ancestor had an incomparably powerful dragon bloodline battle god, flying god, and even an extremely powerful foreign ancestor. In the end, they were all killed by a powerful force, and this force had never disappeared. They existed once. They had been killing the remnants of the Dragon Clan's disciples in countless planes. For example, the great tribulation that occurred in the gods' martial continent every 3,300,000 years was aimed at that powerful force. If Long Fei was really of the dragon race, then the people he would be facing wouldn't be as simple as the powerhouse of this plane. Once the colorful fairy dragon appeared, it wouldn't be long before that mysterious force descended once again. Long Fei would definitely receive a heavy blow from the heavens. He would definitely die. However, Jean Tientu did not wait for the appearance of the mysterious power. There was a saying that a gentleman's revenge could last for 10 years, but Jean Tientu's personality was one where there was no room for revenge. He would definitely not let any of the Zhan clan members die in vain. Exiting the main hall, he entered the forbidden area of the Zhan clan. There was a long passageway inside the forbidden area. That was the way to the 9 Hell forbidden area. He wanted to bring some divine, level powerhouse that did not belong to the Chaos Realm here. He wanted to let Zhan Wushuang safely enter the ancient holy battlefield, and also make it impossible for Long Fei to get back. Rumble, Tower Question of God, Saint Presbyter on the 97th floor, took a step back and said, You passed. Let's go up. Xianyuan Li Er was slightly taken aback. Elder, you... Saint Presbyter said, Go up. Xianyuan Li Er could clearly feel that during the previous matches, it was Saint who had allowed her win several times, and her last move was to purposefully reveal an opening. Only then would she be able to turn the tide and win. It was obvious that he was throwing the match. Xianyuan Li Er was naturally intelligent, looked at Saint, and walked straight to the 98th floor without saying a word, and thought to himself, Big brother Long Fei, I'm afraid Zhan Wushuang has already grasped everything within the Tower Question of God, and now even St. Presbyter listens to him. But it doesn't matter. As long as I break through the 100th level, I will come and find you. I will definitely work hard. Boom. You little trash want to hurt me now. Ghost Hell Ruins. The celestial spirit sneered and said, a bunch of scum. Is powerhouse on the heavenly rankings that amazing? Layers upon layers of pure young force appeared on his body. With the combination of the ghost vein divine art and the heavenly spirit technique, his body was now completely different. The first stage of the ghost yang stage, the 10 stage, the ghost yang heavenly emperor, he had refined into the immeasurable power of the 10-stage mountain in the ghost hell ruins. Ghostly young heaven defying technique. It's time to leave. The sky spirit's eyes lit up. Boss, I'm leaving the mountain. God, Water King Kong, Lin Yuxing, Holy Armor King Kong, Chun Tianfei, the venerable dragon subduing Doyen, Arhut, and Black Knife all walked out of the secret world ruins they were in. In less than a year, they had completely changed. Moreover, every place they entered seemed to have been arranged for them by the heavens, and they found their way there. There was no such thing as a coincidence in the world. All of this was part of the Yen Huang ancestors' plans. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to find a suitable place for their cultivation so smoothly. All of the 8 King Kong had come out of their mountains. However, Li Yuanba scratched his bald head and asked naively, "Where's Boss? Where should we meet up with our brothers?" So irritable. Standing at the foot of the giant spirit mountain, Li Yuanba looked out into the vast expanse and didn't know where he should go to find Long Fei and the others. In the end, Li Yuanba carried the giant spirit axe and muttered, "It doesn't matter. I will kill whoever comes to cause trouble for me. Hell Gate has always been targeting Boss, so I'll just flip it over first." Thinking about this, Li Yuanba immediately became excited. It was just as he had thought. The other 7 King Kongs all thought the same. The person who was targeting Long Fei was the person they needed to take revenge with. The current 8 King Kong was completely different from the past. They wanted to open the Berserk path. Chapter 1558, Mad Harvest. Chapter 1558, Mad Harvest target, Hell Gate. But where is the main rudder of the Hell Gate? Long Fei really didn't know. If I had known, I would have left someone to lead the way. Long Fei laid on the tumbling cloud, floating in the wind. Just now he had activated it quite a few times, moving at 10,000 miles on one side and 10,000 miles on the other. He couldn't even find the location of the Hell Gate. We need to find someone to lead the way. Long Fei looked into the distance and saw a city. The Hell Gate had already united the forces of the Chaos Realm. Teeth and claws were everywhere. As long as one could find an elder-level person, he or she should be able to find the main rudder. Shwa! In an instant, the tumbling cloud moved, and Long Fei instantly descended above the city. The city was in chaos. Hand over the ancient spiritual artifact, or else I will make the blood of a mortal city flow like rivers. A few of them were dressed in long robes. Behind the robes was embroidered a bloody hell door, a disciple of the Hell Gate. A large number of people were kneeling on the square. There were commoners, warriors, countless corpses on the streets. There were old people, children, and even infants. It was too horrible to look at. Lu Changfeng, 3 days ago, I told you to prepare the ancient spiritual artifact, but you ignored my words. A brown-robed man walked forward and stepped on the chest of an old man. The old man's face was pale. His left arm had been chopped off, and blood was flowing from it. He stomped on the ground and spat out another mouthful of blood, then said, "Our forbidden city really doesn't have any ancient spiritual artifact. We really don't have any." even if there is. I won't give it to you either. Anger flared in his eyes. Brown Robe Man's right foot shook violently. Uffed. Lu Chongfeng's body caved in as he spat out a large mouthful of blood. In incomparable pain, the brown-haired man sneered sinisterly, "Lu Chongfeng, you're tired of living." And then the brown man made a grabbing motion in the air and grabbed a 13 or 14-year-old child. He said with a playful smile, "He's your grandson, right?" Lu Chongfeng's gaze tightened and said, "If you have the guts, come at me, don't hurt my family." Without waiting for Lu Chongfeng to finish. Crack! His head was crushed until it exploded. Blood sprayed all over Lu Chongfeng's face, and his eyeballs were about to pop out. Minger! His body trembled, and his heart felt as if it were on the verge of death. The power in his body kept erupting, but his strength was no match for the Hellgate, so he was instantly crushed. Suddenly, Schwa, the brown man suddenly grabbed. A 6-year-old girl was caught in his hand. He smiled sinisterly. "Is this your youngest granddaughter?" Lu Chongfeng's eyes were unfocused as he said, "I beg of you, if you want to kill me, then kill me." "She's only a child, only a child." The little girl looked at her grandfather as she cried and shouted, "You bastards! Don't bully my grandfather. You are all scoundrels. If the deities see you, they will kill you all." Humph! Huh! An immortal from the heavens. Ha ha ha! Even deities in the sky have to kneel before me when they see me, the brown robe man disdainfully said, coldly speaking, "Lu Chongfeng, right now, the chaos realm is the sky, and the ruler. If you dare to go against the Hell Gate, that would be the only road of death for you. I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the ancient spiritual artifact." Lu Chongfeng's voice was trembling as she knelt on the ground and frantically kowtowed. "My lord, we don't have any ancient spiritual artifact left in Immortal City. We don't have any. I'm begging you, kill me. Let my granddaughter go. I'm begging you." Really? He had already handed over the 3 ancient spiritual artifact. He had already exhausted himself thinking about these 3 ancient spiritual artifact, and even his son had died. He had paid too much to protect the citizens of Immortal City. Brown Robe Man's eyes turned cold. "I won't cry until I see the coffin." "You asked for it." The brown man exerted force with his 5 fingers. Lu Chongfeng shouted loudly, "Please don't." It was also at this time. The little girl suddenly looked at the sky, giggled, and said, "There really is an immortal in the sky. Big Brother Immortal has come. Hee hee. Father really didn't lie to me." Brown Robe Man sneered and looked at the sky with such a strong gaze. His gaze turned cold. In the sky, a cloud slowly floated down, and a person stood atop it. The little girl said loudly, "Big Brother Immortal, please save my grandfather." She paid no attention to herself. The brown man felt that Long Fei was not simple, but he did not feel any fear. Long Fei jumped down from the tumbling cloud, glanced at Brown Robe Man, and asked, "Are you from Hell Gate?" And then, when he saw the standard of Hell Gate on his brown robe, he revealed a hint of excitement and said, "You really are from Hell Gate. Seems like your luck is not bad." The brown robe man snorted and said, "Brat, I have already given you one chance. If you don't leave now, you will immediately become a corpse." Long Fei did not bother with him and asked instead, "Do you know where the chief of the Hell Gate is?" "Looking for the rudder." "Don't tell me this kid wants to join Hell Gate." "Brat, you can't just enter the Hell Gate if you want to, and yet you want to enter the main rudder. You don't even know how to take a piss. Even I can't get in. Just you? Dream on." A few Hell Gate disciples thought that Long Fei wanted to join the Hell Gate. The little girl's eyes were a little disappointed as she said, "Immortal brother, are you also someone from the Hell Gate?" Ha ha ha. The brown robe man laughed out loud and said, "In the chaos realm, even the heavens fear our Hell Gate. Who would dare oppose us? Kid, you want to join Hell Gate? Kill this little girl. Since you accepted the proposal, I will also introduce you to join the association." Brown Robe Man laughed proudly. Right now, Chaos Realm followed the lead of Hellgate, and if they went against the will, they would die. Long Fei waved his hand and said, "About that, I think you guys are mistaken. I just want to know the position of the main rudder of the Hellgate, and not join them." Brown Robe Man's gaze tensed up and asked solemnly, "Why do you want to find the main rudder?" Long Fei casually said, "I'll K them up. Brat, you're courting death." One of the Hellgate disciple slashed his blade forward. His speed was as fast as lightning. Saber intent burst out. It completely sealed Long Fei's entire body. Long Fei glanced at the little girl and said, "Close your eyes." The little girl did as she was told. The moment she closed her eyes, Long Fei's figure faintly moved. Bang, bang, bang. In less than a tenth of a second, 6 Hellgate disciples were sent flying several thousand meters away and were instantly killed. Only the Brown Robe Man remained. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "My patience isn't very good. I'll give you one last chance." Chapter 1559. The Discovery of the Ancient Spiritual Artifacts Treasury. Chapter 1559. The Discovery of the Ancient Spiritual Artifacts Treasury. Boom. Long Fei's voice was like a thunderclap. A voice rang out. Brown Robe Man's body was trembling, but his eyes turned sinister as he pinched the little girl and said, "You dog, you dare go against Hellgate's men. Are you tired of living?" Long Fei took a small step forward. Brown Robe Man immediately shouted, "If you dare take another step forward, I will kill her immediately." Boom! Long Fei's footsteps moved. The chi on his body turned into a sword and slashed out. "Kacha! Kacha!" His 2 arms flew into the air. Long Fei abruptly leaned against him, grabbed his neck with one hand, and raised him up into the air as he coldly said, "I hate people who threaten me the most. Speak, where is the main rudder position of the Hellgate?" Brown Robe Man's face was ashen, his eyes flashed, his body trembled uncontrollably as he said, I don't know. F***CK. Long Fei shouted a vulgar word. His palm slightly exerted a force. "Kacha!" He crushed his neck and threw it several hundred meters away. Long Fei was too lazy to waste time with him. The surroundings were completely silent. The little girl slowly opened her eyes, looked at Long Fei, and giggled. Big brother immortal, big brother immortal. Thank you for saving grandfather. Thank you." And then she ran to her grandfather's side and helped him up. "Grandfather, Daddy didn't lie to me. There really is an immortal." Lu Changfeng was very clear that Long Fei was not an immortal. His cultivation was extremely strong, and when he wanted to kneel down, he was stopped by Long Fei's power. Lu Changfeng was extremely grateful as he said, "Thank you, sir, for your assistance. This old one has no way to repay you." Long Fei waved his hand. "This old one doesn't need to do this. It's just that." Long Fei saw that the city was in a mess with countless deaths and injuries. When did the people of the Hell Gate become so bloodthirsty? Lu Changfeng heaved a long sigh and said, "These 7 people are disciples of the Hell Gate's division, so they ask us to hand over 1 ancient spiritual artifact every month. If we can't hand it over, then we will have to kill. Ancient spiritual artifact." This made Long Fei think back to when he was in the Yuan Yang clan, when the space between Long Fei's eyebrows tightened up, and he said, "Why do you need so many ancient spiritual artifact?" Hell Gate. 9 secret warrior family, Zhan Wushuang's God's Shield. Does his defensive main artifact need the same energy as mine? Long Fei was shocked, thinking that before he could even get close to Zhang Wushuang, he was struck by an extremely strong force. That force was released by the god's shield. Lu Changfeng said, "Not only us, the entire chaos realm is the same." The powers of the Hell Gate are frantically collecting ancient spiritual artifacts. If they can't hand them over, they will just slaughter them. Many cities have become dead cities. The entire chaos realm will become hell on earth. If there really are gods, I truly hope they can come and save us. The little girl looked at her grandfather and said, "Grandpa, he is a deity." "Brother Taoist immortals, you will help us beat away that bad guy, right?" The little girl said innocently. Everyone looked at Long Fei. There was no innocence in their eyes, but helplessness, loneliness, and a hint of coldness. Against the Hell Gate, it was impossible. No one could do it, just as Brown Robe Man had said. Even if there were immortals in this world, they would probably be stomped on the ground by Hell Gates. The current Hell Gate was too strong. Long Fei lightly pinched the little girl's cute face, replying innocently, "Amen, I will definitely beat them until they have nowhere to hide." The little girl stretched out her pinky and said, "Pull the hook." Long Fei caught her pinky with his pinky. "Pinky swear, it can't be a puppy." "Oh, brother Taoist, immortal promised me that we wouldn't need to hide in the dark anymore, and that we wouldn't need to play hide and seek with each other anymore." The little girl still didn't know about her father's death. Lu Changfeng gritted his teeth as he felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart. He looked at Long Fei and said, "Master, please leave this place quickly. Those few people are just small fries at the Hell Gate. If they don't return, it won't be long before a large army arrives. Let's go. Let's leave this place." Many people tried to persuade him otherwise. After killing the people of Hell Gate, there was only death. If he did not leave now, he would not be able to leave. Long Fei asked, "What about you guys?" Lu Changfeng laughed bitterly. "We have lived here in Immortal City for generations. This is our home. If we don't leave now, we will die here." The few elders nodded slightly. They were just ordinary citizens who did not understand martial arts training. He didn't want to leave, didn't want to wander around. Long Fei's heart slightly sank and said, "Do you know where they are at?" Lu Changfeng asked, "What do you want to do?" Long Fei was afraid that he would be worried and said, "This way, I'll be able to escape even better." Lu Changfeng heaved a sigh of relief and said, "They are at Misty Cloud City, 300 kilometers to the south." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei summoned his tumbling cloud and instantly disappeared. Lu Changfeng saw Long Fei turn into a flash of light, and his eyes revealed shock. Why did he go south? Shouldn't he be fleeing to the north? They wanted to give chase, but how could they keep up with Long Fei's speed? Furthermore, there were tumbling clouds. 3 seconds passed. In the air above Misty Cloud City, boom. Boom. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up coldly and said, "Since all of you like massacring cities so much and like killing people so much, then I'll let you have a taste of being slaughtered today. Heavenly King, Beast King." Boom, boom. 2 loud sounds rang out as the 2 war beasts descended from the sky and landed on an empty square in the city. Roar, roar. 2 roars. The whole city was trembling. Who dares to behave atrociously here? You want to die? An animal that doesn't know its limits dares to be so presumptuous here. Hell Gate disciples surged out like a tide and instantly surrounded the gods' war beasts and the Beast King question of God. The 2 war beasts exchanged glances. The gods' war beasts smiled. "Beast King, one competition." The Beast King question of God laughed. "So what if we want to compete? What's there to be afraid of?" "Then let's begin." Swish! The God's War Beast was the first to rush out, the God's War hammer in its hand fiercely smashed down. a disciple was smashed into a meat paste and roared out, "A group of scum, all of you die. Rumble! Rumble! Rumble!" The two battle beasts were like fierce tigers that had charged into a flock of sheep, slaughtering crazily. In another place, in a secret room in the city. What does that sound? Send someone to check it out immediately. An elder shouted, "Here are 36 ancient spiritual artifacts, and there is also one ancient holy artifact. This is something to send to the main rudder. We must not have any mishaps." As soon as he finished, a figure landed on the ground and said, "There's no need to send them off. These items are mine now." Long Fei became excited. The power of 100 levels. What is the second stage's strength? Chapter 1560, 100 level energy. Chapter 1560, 100 level energy. The Hell Gate had been collecting ancient spiritual artifact and ancient holy artifact ever since Long Fei entered the Chaos Realm. However, it had only been a secret collection in the past. Ever since the Hell Gate unified the 10,000 Alliance sect and the Bounty Gate, they grew up with all kinds of cruel methods. Not giving. Then, let's just slaughter the city. It could be said that the Hell Gate had turned the entire Chaos Realm into a living hell. However, almost no one knew what the ancient spiritual artifact that they had collected were doing and whose hands they would end up in. Even Powerhouse's sect leader, the sect leader of the Thousand Alliance sect, didn't know about this. However, they knew that as long as they could provide the Zhan clan with an ancient spiritual artifact, they would be able to gain a chance to cultivate their godly strength. For this, they crazily took over the entire Chaos Realm, paying any price. Divine power. It was a power that all warriors of the Chaos Realm yearned for in their dreams, and it was especially needed by those powerhouses of the Peak Realm. Set up the divisions. The collected ancient spiritual artifact will be managed together and then sent to the main rudder. The ancient spiritual artifact in front of Long Fei had been collected over the past month. There were 36 of them, and one of them was even more. If the energy inside the main artifact was exchanged with the energy of the main artifact, it would be equivalent to the energy of the 46th floor. Long Fei's Golden Cudgel's current energy level is at level 94. If you add in this level 46, it was bound to enter a completely new field. Furthermore, Gudong! Long Fei swallowed his saliva heavily. He was extremely excited. The power to open the second stage is not far. Ha ha ha! One of the old men's eyes grew vicious with killing intent. "You dog, you dare to behave so atrociously here. Do you know what kind of place this is? This is the Hell Gate's treasury." Long Fei smirked and said, "What I am fighting for is the Hell Gate." The old man sneered and said, "Brat, did your brain drop into T? Do you believe that I would kill your entire clan for snatching something from the Hell Gate?" The Hell Gate was too big now. It was so huge that no one dared to contend against it. So strong that when he heard the 3 words, Hell Gate, he could make people tremble. Stealing from the Hell Gate, he was making life difficult for himself. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "You won't have the chance because you're about to die." The elder stared at him for a moment before letting out a deep roar. "You dog, you've really gotten tired of living. Go to hell." Before he finished speaking, the old man had already grabbed Xiang Longfei with his sinister hands. He used all his power to push Xiang Longfei down. Iron Claw Strangle. Swish. 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 In that moment, Long Fei was not even able to move. In his eyes, the old man's speed was too slow, like an ant crawling. The aura on Long Fei's body moved. Boom! A powerful aura burst out. His body charged forward and crashed into the barrier like a savage beast. Bang! The old man was sent flying. Boom! as his body struck a wall. The wall instantly collapsed, and the old man laid in the midst of the ruins. Without waiting for him to stand up, Long Fei dropped to the ground, and his right foot trembled. Pa! The old man's head exploded like a watermelon. Long Fei's mouth revealed a cold smile, and said, "Who is tired of living now?" The other two Hell Gate disciples were trembling in fear. Long Fei's aura was too strong, their minds were shivering, and they could not control it at all. Plop! Plop! The two of them instantly knelt down. "Please spare us, my lord. Please spare us." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Do you two know where the main rudder of Hell Gate is?" I know. I have to send an ancient spiritual artifact to the Hell Gate every few months." A disciple said quickly, afraid that Long Fei would kill him. Another disciple said anxiously, "I know as well." "Very good." Long Fei rolled his eyes slightly, looked at the box of ancient spiritual artifact, and thought, gathering so many ancient spiritual artifact, what does Zhan Wushuang want to do when he reaches there? Does the god's shield need to absorb so much energy, or is it that energy can always be retained? You want the ancient spiritual artifact, right? Ha ha! Suddenly, Long Fei wanted to come up with an evil plan. "This old man will let you have none." Then, Long Fei asked, "How many divisions do you Hell Gate have?" A disciple replied, 33 divisions. Long Fei asked, "Do you know the way?" The disciple replied, "I've been there before, so I naturally remember the road." "Very good." Long Fei moved his body slightly and directly kicked the other disciple out, scaring the disciple beside him out of his wits. Long Fei lightly patted his shoulder and said, "Don't be afraid, just be obedient, and you can live for a long time. You go out and wait for me. Remember, do not play any tricks. Otherwise, you know the consequences." Long Fei threatened. That disciple immediately said, "I don't dare. I definitely won't play any tricks." Long Fei was too strong. Even if he tried to play tricks, it would be useless. Furthermore, he could very possibly be the same as the disciple just now, killed in an instant. Long Fei looked at the box of ancient spiritual artifact, rubbed his hands, swallowed his saliva, and got excited, then muttered, "What's the second stage's power?" Hee. Ding. Energy replenishment complete. Current energy level 95. Ding. Energy replenishment complete. Current energy level 96. Ding. Energy charged. Current energy level 97. The system sounded out continuously. Long Fei felt that the golden cudgel's aura was becoming more and more powerful, rolling around as if it was going to transform. He was unable to say what that feeling was. Breaking out of the cocoon into a butterfly, it's all up to this time. Ding. Energy replenishment complete. Current energy level 100. Huff. The system beep descended. Long Fei's heart tensed up. He held his breath and waited quietly. "Big brother, don't let me down. You are a main artifact after all." Ding. Congratulations. The main artifact's energy has been raised to level 100. Do you want to release it? Ding. System notification. Only by releasing can the power of the second stage of main artifact be activated. Ding. System notification. After releasing the power, the second stage will automatically activate. You can release the power for 3 minutes. It was like Buddhist light. Everything is ready. Do you want to be open? However, if his strength was released, then he would release it, and releasing it at this time would be a complete waste. Moreover, Long Fei had always wanted to use the power of the second stage to deal with Zhan Wushuang. Then Long Fei loosened his fists and said, "Zhan Wushuang, wash your ass and wait." Chapter 1561, Mad Slaughtering City. Chapter 1561, mad slaughtering city, the golden cudgel shone with red light. The power of the seal was stirred inside him. As Long Fei activated his idea, the power of the second stage would erupt. What could it be? Long Fei himself did not know either. However, right now was not the time to activate it. Long Fei was using it against Zhan Wushuang. He had to kill, cripple, and go berserk. I would like to see just how many ancient spiritual artifacts you have harvested. Long Fei kept the chest full of ancient spiritual artifact S into the space ring S. Although the power stored in the second stage had increased tremendously, Long Fei did not dare to be careless. What if the power in the second stage could only be used once and would need to be filled with ancient spiritual artifact? Since Zhan Wushuang was collecting so many ancient spiritual artifact, there must be a reason. Long Fei had to be prepared. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With a few consecutive explosions, the entire Misty Cloud City was in a mess. The two great war beasts ran amok, and other than the Hell Gate's disciples who were running away, the rest of the war beasts were all massacred. The whole thing was a river of blood. As for Long Fei's magic body, it leveled up another level, and already reached level 72. His striking energy value had increased by another huge amount, but the energy values required to go from the 8th level of Berserk to the 9th level was simply too terrifying, allowing him to reach the second level of 100,000 points. That meant he had to kill 20,000 people. Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue. This is too scary. They're trying to turn me into a homicidal maniac. If I need 100,000 points at level 9, wouldn't I have to double the Berserk power at level 10? Rob, if I explode like this, I'm going to turn the sky upside down. Long Fei was a little excited in his heart. Long Fei would never let anyone who deserved to be killed off. These disciples of the Hell Gate were like demons. They could perfectly use them to raise their striking energy value. Boom, boom. The Beast King question of God and the Gods War Beasts landed heavily. The Gods War Beasts said slightly, "Boss, this is too boring. All of you are just ants. There is no challenge at all." The Beast King question of God also grinned. That's right. Didn't they say the people from the Hell Gate are very strong? No matter how I look at it, it's always like trash. Wrong. It's not even comparable to trash. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, Powerhouse will be coming out soon." And then Long Fei moved his body and summoned his tumbling cloud. He threw the disciple onto his tumbling cloud and said, "Lead the way." Lianyan City. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Another massacre occurred. The Hell Gate disciples were immediately turned upside down. Not one was left alive. And he was sweeping through everything with the force of a thunderbolt. No one could stop him. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 32 ancient spiritual artifact S and 1 ancient holy artifact. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his magic body to level 73. Ha ha ha! It's really fast to get an ancient spiritual artifact. Why didn't I think of that before? Long Fei excitedly laughed out loud. If he had known this in the past, Long Fei wouldn't have suffered so much for an ancient spiritual artifact. Next city. Don't worry, the rudder is in no hurry. First, we will pull out all of your underlings, one by one. The main rudder of Hell Gate. Report. Lianyan City has been massacred. Over 10,000 disciples within the city have been killed. In addition, the great clan elder of the Hell Gate stared at him and shouted, "Speak!" In addition, all the ancient spiritual artifact in the treasury inside the city have been collected. What? The complexion of all the elders in the hall changed. They knew clearly in their hearts that the ancient spiritual artifact were going to be sent to Jean Clan. If they could not hand over the ancient spiritual artifact on time, not only would they not receive the god's power reward, they would also receive a heavy punishment. They understood the 9 secret warrior families' methods very well. No one could withstand such torture. "Who is it?" the clan elder bellowed. "Who dares to oppose the Hell Gate?" The disciple shook his head and replied, "Not a single survivor. So far, no one has been able to find out." Not waiting for him to finish, the great clan elder of the Hell Gate stared at him. A sharp gaze shot out, shouting out, "Useless trash!" Bam! The head exploded, and half of his body swayed, slightly before collapsing to the ground, blood spurting out from his body. The elders in the hall didn't even spare them a glance. At this moment, another disciple ran into the hall. Seeing the corpses in the hall, his face changed, and he started to get scared. The great elder shouted, "Speak! See, Heaven City has been massacred. All the treasures in the treasury have been plundered, and all the ancient spiritual artifact have been taken away." "What? Another city has been massacred? Who is it? Who is it?" The great elder was enraged. The killing intent on his body was extremely strong. His expression was as if he was about to eat someone. In less than a day, 3 of the divisions had been massacred. He didn't care about the death of his disciple at all, but if the ancient spiritual artifact were to be robbed, then he would have to take responsibility. Grand Elder, could it be him? When the word he left his mouth, everyone looked at the elder. The elder said slightly, "The great clan elders sent by the Jean clan have all been killed. I am afraid in the entire Chaos realm. Only he would dare to be the most compatible with us." An elder blurted out and said, "Long Fei?" Everyone was slightly startled. The great elder's face instantly calmed down. He frowned and said solemnly, "If it's really him, if even divine level powerhouse Jean Tianlong was killed, how were they supposed to defend? This dog should have died when he was still a slave. In just a few short years, he has become so strong that I can't let him live. You should have killed him when the Hell Gate was in a coup. Now, you should leave this trouble behind, okay? Cutting the grass will not remove the roots, and spring winds will rise again." Back then, when the 3 great powers teamed up, they should have already had the urge to kill him, and he escaped several times. The elders began to criticize him. The elder of the Hell Gate shouted, "Enough!" The entire palace went silent. At that time, he should have killed Long Fei to the death because of a single word from Xianyuan nationality sparing his little life. However, letting go of the tiger and returning to the mountain, future troubles would be endless. Who would have thought that in just a few short years, Long Fei would be strong to this extent? The great clan elder of the Hell Gate said, "The most pressing matter at hand right now is how to deal with Long Fei. Dealing with Long Fei is secondary. The key point is how to collect the ancient spiritual artifact in the branch treasury. We can't lose them again." "I see," the great clan elder of the Hell Gate said. "I will go to the battle house to call for reinforcements. Go to the different divisions and bring the ancient spiritual artifact back to the headquarters. You absolutely cannot let Long Fei obtain any more ancient spiritual artifact. Better. And also Drew Long Fei. This might be the best opportunity." Chapter 1562, Dragon's Tomb. Chapter 1562, Dragon's Tomb. Long Fei's speed was far faster than the main rudder of Hell Gate knew. In just 3 short days, 18 divisions, 18 cities, all had been looted by Long Fei. He now had as many as 500 ancient spiritual artifact, and 13. This was something that Long Fei didn't even dare to think about in the past. The entire Chaos realm was shocked. The forces and forces that were continuously being suppressed by the Hell Gate were getting excited as Long Fei appeared like a savior. It gave these people a chance. In just a few short days, the news of Long Fei killing Hell Gate's disciples spread out to every corner of the continent. This is great news. It's better to kill all these animals. Hell Gate, you F***king, also have such a day. Ha ha ha. Today, we must let out some firecrackers to celebrate our victory. I'm afraid that Long Fei won't be able to live more than a few days. Hell Gate's power is too great, and he still has the 9 secret warrior family as his backing. Can he handle it alone? The Zhan clan is only one of them, and there are also the Tower Question of God forces. I heard that Zhan Wushuang is about to break through the God's Tower and enter the ancient holy battlefield. On the streets, in the small towns and cities, everyone was discussing what had happened in the past few days. They hoped that Long Fei could save the Chaos Realm. At the same time, they were also afraid of the power of the Hell Gate, the power of the 9 secret warrior family, and the power of the Tower Question of God, because these forces were too powerful. Ha ha ha. Boss is mighty. The boss is domineering. When the 8 King Kong received the news as well that they were being slaughtered one by one, the 8 King Kong was extremely happy. They were even more sure that Long Fei would go to the main headquarters of the Hell Gate. Find the main rudder of Hell Gate, then you can find the boss. It's all settled now. Ha ha ha. The 8 King Kong had all rushed to the direction of Hell Gate, looking forward to meeting with Long Fei. A war house within the 9 Hell Forbidden Land. This place was like hell. In the 9 Nether limitless land, spirit bodies filled the sky and flew everywhere. Any one of these spirit bodies were divine level powerhouses and were the divine level souls of their battle family's ancestor, Seal. These spirit bodies could erupt with extremely strong power. Next to a huge grave sat 9 white-haired elders. Each one of them was brimming with energy as they radiated with a golden light that could be seen with the naked eye. Imperceptibly, their powers were linked to the tomb as if they were absorbing its power. At the foot of the stairs, Zhan Tiantu knelt down quietly, not daring to say a word. After a long time, an old man opened his eyes slightly. He moved and instantly appeared in front of Zhan Tiantu and said, "You can't even take care of a mere Long Fei." Zhan Tiantu's heart sank, and he said, "Master, Long Fei is a descendant of the dragon race, and he also has a huge dragon on him. It was he who killed Elder Tianlong last time." The old man's eyebrows shook. Dragon race descendant. The expressions of the other 8 people also changed drastically as they simultaneously opened their eyes and looked at Zhan Tiantu. "What did you just say? He has a giant dragon with him." An elder looked at Zhan Tiantu and asked anxiously. This question was extremely important to him. Zhan Tiantu replied, "Reporting to Master, there is a huge dragon helping him, and we are cultivating the fitted soul technique together." Impossible. Buzz. When the divine light exploded, Zhan Tiantu's body suddenly trembled, as if he couldn't hold on any longer. His face instantly turned pale white, and he was unable to withstand even a single strand of aura. How arrogant is the dragon race? It's impossible for them to cultivate fitted soul techniques with others. If they had lowered their heads, the dragon race wouldn't have ended up like this. Dragon would never become someone's war pet. He also did not know how to cultivate the fitted soul technique with others. If the dragon clan were to do this, then they would no longer need to absorb energy from the necropolis. Instead, they would refine their dragon spirits and dragon souls and absorb them to become the strongest divine ability in the soul body. Zhan Tiantu knelt on the ground and said, "This disciple does not dare to lie. It is absolutely true." The 9 Master S fell silent. They still didn't believe it. However, they were members of the Jean clan. Any danger that could threaten the Jean clan would be removed. And then one of the white-haired elderly men frowned. The entire 9 secret borders began to tremble. The sky full of spirits began to move. The white-haired old man trembled slightly, and a burst of power burst out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A series of buzzing sounds could be heard as 8 spirit bodies stood beside Jean Tiantu. The white-haired old man said, "These are the 8 two-star divine souls. Their power is enough for you to deal with Long Fei. If he really does have a huge dragon on him, we will personally come out." Jean Tiantu immediately said excitedly, "Thank you, Master." The white-haired elder nodded slightly. "How is Wu Shuang recently?" Jean Tiantu said, "Right now, Wu Shuang is trying to break through to the 100th floor. I believe it won't be long before he can break through into the ancient holy battlefield. Very good. Let him remember what I once said to him, that he must make good use of that girl Xian Yuan, Li Er's power. She is a perfect vessel." Although he had known about this matter from the beginning, he did not know what specific strength Xian Yuan Li Er possessed either. It could be seen that Xian Yuan Li Er had an extremely strong power. Jean Tiantu immediately said, "Thank you, Master, for your concern. All right, let's go. If there's anything else, let's report back. We're going to cultivate." Jean Tiantu brought the 8 spirit bodies and quickly retreated. "The colossal dragon has appeared. Is it for the guy in the grave?" "This is..." A white-haired old man did not finish his sentence. The 9 of them stared at the enormous tombstone. After a long time, an old man said faintly, "Regardless of why it came, we will continue our cultivation. A mere ant who doesn't even have a divine spark is just a piece of trash, even with the help of a colossal dragon. We'll talk about it later." With the appearance of the huge dragon, the mysterious power in the wild universe will definitely move. When that happens, they will die without a burial ground even before we do anything. Dragon Clan. She is already the lowliest race in the wild universe. Jean Tiantu returned home. After hearing what happened in the past few days at the Hell Gate, a sinister aura appeared between Jean Tiantu's eyebrows, and he said coldly, "This time, I will never let you live in this world again. Let the 8 grand elders out." The elders in the hall were shocked. All 8 of them came out. "Am I not clear enough?" An elder immediately said, "I will do it." 8 grand elders. These 8 were all super powerhouse of the Blend FO Godhead, and all 8 of them came out at the same time. What did this mean? What an apocalyptic sight. Chapter 1563, Nuclear Bomb Preparation. Chapter 1563, Nuclear Bomb Preparation. Boom, boom. Yet another city had been massacred. The ancient spiritual artifact have already been sent to the headquarters. There's really nothing left here. "Lord, I beg of you, spare me, spare me, spare your sister. If you don't have any treasures, why should I spare your life?" Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's attack landed, instantly killing him, and muttered, "This is the 3rd empty city. Looks like Hell Gate has already begun." "The rudder? Do you know where the rudder is?" That disciple immediately nodded and said, "Yes, I know." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Lead the way." Since it was already empty, Long Fei did not want to waste any more time. These few days, he had only taken the interest from the starting point. Now, it was time to settle the score. Tumbling cloud. Long Fei moved, summoning his tumbling cloud. Long Fei looked at the disciple and said, "Point the way." At the same time, Long Fei's idea moved and entered the aircraft carrier's control interface. Nuclear bomb preparation. On the Sea of Infinitas, the aircraft carrier slightly moved, locking onto its destination. Now, they only needed to wait for Long Fei to enter the coordinates. He's here. He's here. The warlord has arrived. An elder ran into the hall excitedly. Before he could say anything, 8 silhouettes landed before him. Within the palace, the head of the Bounty Gate, the head of the 10,000 Alliance sect, and the great elder of the Hell Gate did not even dare to breathe. Loudly, they all kneeled down. We pay our respects to the Lord. The leading old man asked, "Where is Long Fei now?" The Hell Gate elder immediately said, "They are already on their way to the Hell Gate." "All right, save us the trouble of looking for him again." An old man said slightly, "Explode all of your Hell Gate's power for me. If even a mere Long Fei is unable to block it, what kind of control do you have over the entire Chaos realm? All 3 of you, remember this. If you want to acquire divine power, then you'll have to use all of your power." At this moment, the elder took out a divine spark and faintly said, "Today, whoever performs meritorious service will have this divine spark." A divine spark. It was crystal clear, and divine power surged. The pupils of the 3 of them constricted as they swallowed saliva. Even if they had to cultivate for a lifetime, they would never be able to break through the shackles of divine-level powerhouse. As long as they kill Long Fei, they would have hope of becoming gods. The temptation to become a deity was simply too great. The leader said, "Sire, don't worry. We will do our best." The 100 powerhouse-s on the heavenly rankings are all present. I don't believe that Long Fei has 100 lives. If we don't kill him this time, I don't believe in evil. All of them swore solemnly. Divine sparks were like stimulants, causing them to feel fervent and excited. Long Fei was strong, but no matter how strong they were not a match for the entire Chaos realm. All the powerhouse on the heaven, earth, and mortal boards were all controlled by them. With the addition of the powerhouse-s from the 3 great forces, they didn't believe they wouldn't be able to handle Long Fei. Moreover, there were also 8 great clan elder powerhouse-s. These were all divine level powerhouse-s. It could be said, the current Hell Gate was like an iron wall. As long as Long Fei dared to come, it would be like an inescapable trap. He would definitely not be able to live. Boom. "Master, the Hell City in front is the main rudder of the Hell Gate." Long Fei stopped and looked at the disciple. "Let's go. Don't let me see you again." And then, entering the aircraft carrier's control room and entering the coordinates, he smiled and said, "I must pull the wind and lightning when I appear. Come, nuclear bomb." "Come on, go berserk as much as you want. Come on, go berserk as much as you want." Whoosh, whoosh. 2 huge nuclear bombs rose from Sea of Infinitas' aircraft carrier, flames shooting into the sky like a comet colliding with the Earth. Ding! The nuke will arrive in 3 minutes. The system sounded out. Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue. Damn, it's still far. The nuclear warhead on the spacecraft carrier was different from the ones on Earth. This nuclear warhead was even more advanced, and it also had an incomparably strong power of holy source. It could be said that a nuclear bomb was at least 10 times more powerful than a nuclear bomb on Earth. 3 minutes. I have to go and act tough. Long Fei grinned. Right at this moment, the disciple who was let go by Long Fei suddenly rushed towards the direction of the Hell City and shouted loudly, "Long Fei is here! Long Fei is here! Long Fei is charging in." The surrounding patrolling guards immediately reacted to the loud shouts. Long Fei sighed, lightly. "I still wanted to tell you not to enter the Hell City. You didn't cherish the chance to live. All of these, You are the one who is courting death." Long Fei walked down the mountain. Master, Long Fei is here." In less than half a minute, news of Long Fei's appearance reached the Hell Gates meeting hall. "All right." The great clan elder of the Hell Gate suddenly stood up. With a sinister look in his eyes, he shouted solemnly, "Long Fei, you dog have finally come. This old man has been waiting for you for a long time." The leader of the alliance revealed an excited smile. "He's finally here." The Bounty Gate Lord laughed and said, "It's time to teach him a lesson and let him know our methods." Under the stimulation of the divine spark, it could be said that the three major powers had all their trump cards in their hands. If anyone was able to make an outstanding contribution to this dragon slaying, then that divine spark would belong to them. The three of them didn't seem to understand, but they were secretly arguing. Next, the three of them rushed out of the meeting hall. "Where's the Hell Gates elite group?" Boom! The Hell Gates disciples shouted in unison and then released a burst of explosions. "Where is the killer of the Bounty Gate?" Boom! "Where are the disciples of the Myriad Alliance?" Boom! Waves of roars came from the Hell City S. The sound of killing shook the sky. It was as if the heaven was shaking. "Follow me. Kill Long Fei." Tens of thousands of elite disciples, elders, sect masters, and super powerhouse on the heaven and earth ranking all rose up from the city as if they were streams of flowing light. The scene was magnificent. In the distance, Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue and muttered, "Damn, so many people. Looks like they were waiting for me to come." Rumble! Long Fei stood at his original position and soared into the sky, landing in midair to take a bird's eye view of hell. From midair, the Hell City looked like a gigantic skull. Long Fei thought, "Will there be an exquisite soul pearl here?" This was one of the materials that the colorful fairy dragon required. Regardless, this place will become a wasteland today. Long Fei looked at the location of the nuclear bomb in the control room and smiled. Soon, it was also at this time. Boom! With a loud bang, the sky suddenly sank and a strong wave of pressure swept over. Long Fei, an old man, was wearing a blood-red, hellish robe. The blood-dripping door was abnormally sinister and terrifying, as if it would open at any time from his back. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, whoosh, 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 asterisk, one after another. The elites of the Hell Gate stood in the air. Standing behind the great clan elder of the Hell Gate, their killing intent surged. At the same time, boom! All the assassins in the Bounty Gate felt it, and were all super powerhouse on the heaven rankings. They looked at Long Fei with disdain. Disdain. Very disdainful. Boom! The disciples of the Thousand Alliance also landed, and several hundred of the Grand Masters stood behind the leader of the Alliance. They were all powerhouse-s at the peak of the Qinshan realm. Many of them were super powerhouse that could not be hidden. In that instant, Long Fei was stared at by tens of thousands of eyes, and in that instant, the pressure from tens of thousands of people condensed into an extremely strong force that heavily smashed onto Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Buzz! Long Fei's body suddenly sank. He could not hold on any longer. "Damn!" Long Fei shouted and said, "The pressure of tens of thousands of powerhouse S is really fierce." However, boom! Long Fei's mind released the power of his Fate Soul, the aura of the Titan King's Fate Soul instantly crushing the pressure of tens of thousands of people. Long Fei grinned and said, "Scared me to death. There's actually so many people?" Humph! Long Fei, obediently kneel down and accept your death. This way, you will die without any pain. The Bounty Gate Lord shouted. The powerhouse on the heavenly rankings beside him was already ready to make a move. Long Fei grinned and said, "Hell Gate, Bounty Gate, 1,000 Alliance sect from the moment this daddy appeared. You have been working together to kill me, but your father is still alive and well. However, I will remember everything you all have done for me, Long Fei, and today I will settle this debt with you all. I want to settle this debt for the Kunlun sect's disciples, for the citizens who have died here, and for the innocent people who have been killed here in Chaos Realm. On the way to Hell City, corpses littered the ground. Many of the cities had turned into dead cities, and their bodies stank. As long as it was not the power of the Hell Gate, it would be destroyed. In order to capture the ancient spiritual artifact, these people were inhumane. Originally, all of this had nothing to do with Long Fei, but as a bystander, he could not bear to watch any longer. Too cruel. Ha ha ha. The Hell Gate elder laughed out loud and said, "You're going to settle the score with us? Just you alone? Long Fei, I really didn't think that you would dare to come here. I really don't know who gave you the courage to do so." The great clan elder of the Hell Gate frowned and shouted, "Prepare to die today." The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he gave a cold laugh and said, "Stop talking nonsense. You want me to die? Then come." Buzz. With the 9 Tribulations sword in his hand, the idea once again checked the control room and started to count down. 10, 9, 8. The system kept prompting him. It was also at this moment that a disciple suddenly looked up into the sky and asked, "My lord, what is that?" It was like a meteor falling. They had no idea what it was. "What's that? What is it? Why are 2 balls of fire flying in the sky? Which powerhouse is it?" It was also at this time. Long Fei immediately ran. With a thought, he fled far away. He covered his ears with his hands, grinned, and said, "It's going to explode." 3, 2, 1. Lord, that ball of fire seems to be coming for us. Not waiting for him to finish. Rumble. A nuclear bomb exploded first, and an intense firelight shot out. The space instantly distorted, and an extremely powerful nuclear explosion wreaked havoc in the surroundings. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A power that could destroy the heavens and earth. Another nuclear bomb landed, and a huge amount of energy exploded. 2 mushroom clouds rose up from the Hell City. Long Fei, who was thousands of kilometers away, also felt the strong impact, but he could not hide his smile now. "Come, go berserk as much as you want." Chapter 1565. The 3 Great Chiefs die. Chapter 1565. The 3 Great Chiefs die. Explode. Berserk, berserk, berserk. The system beep flew into the air with a loud noise. Its eardrums were about to burst from the shockwave, which was even louder than a nuclear explosion. A blast from the cannon sent a cloud of them flying. Half of the Hell City fell down. Hell Gate, Bounty Gate, and the elite powerhouses that the Myriad Alliance sect brought out, the Underworld Army, heavenly ranking powerhouses, they were all blown up one after another to a point that King, no one recognized them. Moreover, more importantly, they did not even know what this was. Cultivation technique. Not at all. How could he resist it? I don't know. Under the influence of a nuclear bomb, they could only become a bunch of chickens and dogs, disappearing from the face of the earth in an instant. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his magic body to level 75. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his magic body to level 76. Ding! To rise 3 levels consecutively. In less than a minute. How fierce was that? Long Fei himself was shocked. This is about to reach level 100. Feeling good. Other than Long Fei himself leveling up, the sky-swallowing rat was also leveling up crazily. The things that had dropped were basically all swallowed by him. As long as he had something to devour, he would be able to level up. In the last minute or so, he had risen continuously, and he was much fiercer than Long Fei. However, at this time, Long Fei did not pay attention to the sky-swallowing rat, as he did not know about his level up. Buzz! Buzz! Suddenly, in the midst of the sand and dust in the sky, 2 gold lights continuously shot out from the Hell City. With a flash of golden light, it quickly enveloped the entire Hell City. And it was a double-layered formation. Moreover, it was a formation formed by divine power. In the instant that the array was released, the dust was suppressed by a force. His vision also cleared up, and all the mountains within hundreds of kilometers were razed to the ground. In the center, there was a huge crater, just like a meteor falling. The scene was extremely shocking. What was that just now? Heavens, what is that thing? I've never seen it before. How many of those people survived? The faces of the survivors turned pale. They were all scared silly. They had never seen this kind of power before. And did they not know that this was a godly horse? Even the 8 grand elders of the 9 secret warrior family were stupefied. In the end, they had no choice but to activate the city barrier formation, and after a few more shots, the Hell City would become ruins. After the formation was activated, several figures in the distance rushed over and said, "Let me in, let me in." The great clan elder of Hell Gate was still alive. However, he was in a sorry state. His hair was in a mess, and his face was covered in filth. He looked like a sloppy-looking beggar on the street. "Let me in. Quickly let me in." The patriarch of the Bounty Gate also survived. The sect head of the Thousand Alliance also survived. Out of the huge army of over 10,000 people, only the 3 of them survived. The rest of the people did not even have a single scrap left. They were all turned into ashes. This was also because they reacted too quickly, fleeing for their lives in that instant. It was also at this time Long Fei moved through the air, and in the time of 2 breaths, he landed atop the deep pit. Looking at the 3 people who were constantly shouting, he smiled lightly and said, "Wow, where did this beggar come from?" Their faces darkened as they turned around to look at the distant Long Fei. Their eyes were bloodshot and hated him to the bones, but the 3 of them did not dare to step forward. The arrogant and domineering face that was previously filled with contempt dared not appear again. That was because, really scared, Long Fei was completely crazy. The Hell Gate elder said in a low voice, "Long Fei, you will pay for this." "Long Fei, do you think you won?" All of them clamored. They had lost, but that did not mean that Long Fei had won. Their cultivations were nothing to them. The grand elders of the Zhan clan were the true powerhouse-s who reaped the lives of Long Fei. "Yo, yo, yo, you're still being arrogant." Long Fei's eyes moved, his speed suddenly changing. The great clan elder of the Hell Gate roared out, "Long Fei, you dare touch a single hair on my head." Crack! His body exploded, and he was as though a fly being slapped to death. He was sent flying backward, and half of his body was smashed into smithereens. Instant kill. There wasn't even time to react. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Great Elder of Hellgate for obtaining 39,000 experience, 3,500 Holy Source points, and 10 Energy Values points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Hell Secret World Medallion. Ha! With such little experience, you're nothing but a spicy chicken. Long Fei disdained in his heart. You are the great clan elder of the Hellgate. You are so weak. 40,000 experience points was too little. This was also because Long Fei's current level was too high. His experience would plummet for those weaker than him. However, what is the Hell's Secret World Medallion? Long Fei looked at a pitch-black order badge that was flickering with a black light. He had a feeling that this order badge was not ordinary. Logically speaking, he should be the one in charge of the Hell Gate. The exquisite spirit is supposed to explode out from his body, but there isn't. Could it be that the exquisite spirit is in a different place in the Hell Gate? Or could it be that there are stronger people in Hell Gate? Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, aside from settling the score with the Hell Gate. He also came to find the exquisite spirit beast that the colorful fairy dragon required. Plop, plop. The Bounty Gate's master and the leader of the alliance looked at the great elder of the Hell Gate lying in a pool of blood and instantly kneeled on the ground. Long Fei, please spare our lives. I swear to the heavens that I will never target you again. Long Fei, everything was forced by the Zhan clan to do this. It really has nothing to do with us. Long Fei, you can do it. I can assure you that all the disciples of my Bounty Gate will surrender to you. The two of them knelt on the ground and begged for forgiveness. He pretended to be extremely pitiful. However, but Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "The Zhan clan forced you to do so? What about back then? In the Yuanyang clan, was your Million Alliance sect forced by the Zhan clan? Is it because of the War family that you were forced to do this in the Kunlun sect? It was also forced on you by the Battle family in Beast City? Kneel on the ground and beg for forgiveness now. Are you kidding me? Let them go?" Even if Long Fei agreed, the ghosts of the people who died in Yuanyang clan, and other places would all die as well. Long Fei turned his right hand. Boom, boom. 2 moves down, not giving them a chance to resist. 1 punch, 1 kill. And then Long Fei flew into the air and looked at the Golden Divine Energy City Barrier formation and the 8 white-haired elders at the bottom of the formation. Like Zhan Tianlong, they were all divine-level powerhouse, 8 people at a time. The Zhan clan had exceeded Long Fei's expectations. However, Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest and said, "Now it's your turn." Chapter 1566, 10 Nuclear Bombs. Chapter 1566, 10 Nuclear Bombs. Long Fei's voice fell. The 8 great elders laughed in unison. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Brat, you're really arrogant. Do you know what kind of formation this is? Divine power formation. Can you break it? With just you? He's not qualified. The defensive array was unbreakable, unless Long Fei possessed the power of a divine, level being above the power of this array. It was impossible to break it. Long Fei's current cultivation was not at the divine level, so he naturally could not break it. Long Fei smirked and said, "You can't break the formation, right? Then open your eyes wide and see how your father broke your formation." And then Long Fei entered a series of coordinates, and the idea moved: nuclear bomb preparation. It was also at this moment he had used up a large portion of his Holy Source S, so the launching of each nuclear bomb would consume a large amount of Holy Source points. Fire! Long Fei moved and shouted. Ding! The nuke will arrive in 3 minutes. The system sounded out. Long Fei looked at the 8 white-haired elders under the formation and said, "Old fellows, please enjoy the fear of a nuclear bomb." Hiding in a dog hole. He's simply courting death. If they didn't have the formation, they would most likely be able to escape. But if the formation wrapped around them, wouldn't they be courting death? It was completely a live target for Long Fei. Of course, Long Fei thought so. An old man with white hair laughed coldly and said, "Brat, do you think that with your power you can cause the slightest bit of harm to the Hell City? If you can knock down a tile in Hell City, I'll consider it my loss." The 8 of them exploded with confidence. The The Divine Power formation was able to withstand all attacks from up to 2 levels below. The strongest shield. Long Fei's gaze tightened. You'll know soon. The old man laughed. You're right. You'll know soon enough. In that instant, Long Fei fiercely shot out and landed thousands of miles away. The nuclear bomb did not care who it was, and it killed everyone within the explosion range. 3 minutes passed. The nuclear warhead struck the defensive array. Rumble! With a loud bang, the earth quaked and mountains shook, and powerful energies shot out one after another. However, the 8 grand elders stood motionlessly under the formation. It was exactly as they had said. The entire Hell City didn't even have a single grain of rubble falling from the sky. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The sounds of wild laughter rang out. Kid, did you see that? Break the formation? Ha ha ha. Are you dreaming? Long Fei, why are you so arrogant? Come on, come on. Let's see how capable you are. You son of a B***TCH, come again. The disciples of Hell City were in an uproar. The defensive formation did not budge an inch, and the fear in their hearts instantly turned into rage. They vented out crazily and cursed fiercely, louder and louder, afraid that Long Fei would not be able to hear them. The 8 grand elders revealed disdainful sneers, saying, Long Fei, now you know the difference, right? You are indeed very strong, but no matter how strong you are in front of God, you are just an ant. Despicable beyond compare. Damn! Long Fei cursed in his heart. Even a nuclear bomb is useless. The moment the nuclear bomb exploded, Long Fei could see very clearly that the power of the nuclear bomb did not harm the array in the slightest, just like how it was at MIS. Was his attack not strong enough? Or what? Long Fei was in a bad mood. Fuck, I want to see how many times your **T array can block a nuclear explosion. And then, the idea moved. 10 bombs. Ding. It is beyond the current aircraft carrier's capacity. Please use it carefully. What's the use of being cautious? If we can't even break a formation, what's the use of having this aircraft carrier? Long Fei yelled. He couldn't care about the restrictions of the system. He just had to blast it. The carrier's bearing range is limited by the system, but it is not really unable to bear. Long Fei did not care about its so-called restrictions. He wanted to destroy the array. Ding! Holy source points, 39,000. Boom! Boom! On the surface of the Sea of Infinitas SC, the aircraft carrier's entire body was red, like red-hot steel. Long Fei could not see it, but he could feel it from the control room. The control room was flashing red. Woo, 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 woo. Alert, alert. Take your sister. 10 at once. Bang. Long Fei was too lazy to care about all this. He was already annoyed by the complacency of the 8 grand elders. I don't believe it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 10 nuclear bombs were launched into the air, and at this moment, the aircraft carrier suddenly exploded. Ding! The aircraft carrier will self-destruct. It was also at this time. Long Fei's control room disappeared. Clenching his fists tightly, he thought to himself, a single aircraft carrier. If I cannot break it, then I really will die. The price was too high. However, Long Fei did not regret his decision. Anyone who dared to be arrogant in front of him would definitely be smashed into pieces. Long Fei stared at the 8 grand elders and said, Let's see how long your formation can hold out for. Long Fei was also once a formation master, and although he was in the gods' martial continent, the principles behind every formation were interlinked, and every formation needed the support of strength. The nuclear explosion did not cause any damage, but it definitely consumed a large amount of energy. 10 crystals in a row would definitely work. The 8 grand elders gave a disdainful sneer. You're overestimating yourself. The disciples of the Hellgate-S of the city lords began to mock him even more loudly. Long Fei, someone as useless as you wants to destroy the holy tactical method? Scram! Don't even think about Long Fei anymore. Just tremble in front of the gods. Long Fei. Ha ha. You like to laugh, right? Let's see if you can still laugh or not later. Long Fei gritted his teeth as he looked into the distance. At this moment, 10 nuclear bombs had already entered Long Fei's field of vision. He's here. They were all super-nuclear warheads with immeasurable power. Long Fei said in a deep voice, "If we can't do it this time, it means that Earth's scientific and technological power is not working for us in this world." Moreover, this was Earth's future power. Even though it couldn't compare to the black weapons in science fiction movies, the nuclear explosion was too powerful. As soon as he finished, boom, the first nuclear bomb arrived. A heavy blow, explosion above the holy tactical method. Waves of heat swept across the area as powerful shock waves covered thousands of kilometers. Dust filled the air as the first nuclear bomb landed before it could finish firing the second one. Boom, boom. Following that was a fourth, a fifth. A series of nuclear bombs rained down again, and again, just like the power of thunder striking vertically. A fierce battle. Long Fei's gaze locked onto the God Power City barrier formation. Let's see if you can break it or not. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.